Live from twitch.tv and youtube.com, it's Vtuber Talk. Tonight's guest is Exo Verse. And now, definitely not looking for clothes in the soup store, here's your host, Jay. Hello and welcome to Vtuber Talk. For those of you who haven't been here before, Vtuber Talk is designed after classic late-night talk shows. Everything here is live, casual, and the goal is to simply have fun conversations that will be great for people who are already familiar with the guests while still being accessible for new fans. Please welcome my guest for this evening, Exo Verse.
Hello there. And please, just call me Exo.
Exo it is. Well, welcome on in, Exo. So happy to have you here. As I can tell from some folks already in chat, several folks are already familiar with you, but for anyone who might not be, if you could introduce yourself.
Oh god, my one weakness. You didn't prep me in the pre-interview for this. Oh no! Hi, my name's Exo Verse. You can call me Exo. I am a voice actor, VTuber, ASM artist, singer, challenge stream, endurance streamer, and I do stuff. I just have like a little dartboard of, hey, what's this thing that I did today? I did a thing.
Boy, howdy do you do stuff. Much stuff, lots of stuff. Also, thank you to some folks who did some early follows. Hydreigon Warrior, Nothing Happened, Kaiju Rain, Sergeant Panda 81, and Lady Misa. Thank you so much for the follows and welcome on in.
I recognize some of those names.
It's always fun for...
Thank you for giving the boys some support.
Yeah, much appreciated, and appreciate you all stopping by. It's always fun for me as a host because in a lot of ways, every show is new and different in not just the guest itself, but that since all I do is talk shows, I end up having, admittedly, not much of a big community myself, that I have a couple of really loyal viewers, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart. But for the most part, folks stop by when it's somebody that they're familiar with on the show. And in its own way, while that's, VTuber Talk's never been about channel growth. I have actually done things actively to inhibit channel growth. And in a funny way, it actually... Oh, Dollhouse Raid. Hey, Lane.
I was going to say, I recognize
Speaking
that name
of... Yes, indeed. Welcome on in, Lane. We actually just started, so very good timing. Welcome on in, Dollhouse folks.
Hisashiburi, Rain. Mwah. I got lost from Lane. Wow, we just got started, and I'm already the luckiest man out here. Here we go. Let's go.
Yeah. But, yeah, like I was saying, the chat ends up sort of tailoring itself to the guest in that way, and I actually really like that because certain vibes for the chat would not fit for every guest, and the fact that it is so many of the folks that are just, really loyal viewers of my guest for that night, it makes things really come together and make sure that the guests themselves are always really comfortable. So for those of you tuning in, whether you were here from the pre-show or if you just stopped by with Lane, thank you so much for being here. And Lane, a good friend to both of us. She was actually the first guest ever on VTuber Talk. And so glad to have you here because you and I have actually crossed paths a couple times and we'd been meaning to make this happen for a long time. So I'm very glad we got this to actually happen. Hey, better late than never, man. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm so sorry. It's taken me so long.
You're a busy guy. And funny enough, this is technically our second collab together because we had our first collab together last night on Civil Fortissimo's anniversary stream doing Among Us.
That is actually, yesterday was just in general really funny for like some interactions being like, oh no, we need to set up this time. Oh man, hey, can we do this a bit later so that we can? There's the Sony State of Play. Oh, don't worry, me too. Oh, I have to kind of end up soon. I have a collab that I got to do later. Oh wait, me too.
Wait a minute, that's right.
Collab.
I saw you. Wait a minute, I saw you in that server. I just kind of like it happened so fast. It didn't click with me. But yeah, we're about to go and try and kill each other a little bit. It was a great time.
I died first every round except the one round I was imposter in which I was voted
out
because I was the only one who didn't die.
I didn't even clock that. Oh no.
It's my curse. I'm just so killable apparently.
You're just too popular. You stand out a bit too much because you're just so damn cool.
Oh, thank you. I will say I definitely stand out too much and it leads to my death a lot.
And that's sort of why I'm able to sort of blend in the background and just like, I don't know, it's just VTuber Talk. He's just, here. I don't talk too much, ironically, perhaps, in Among Us. One time I shut up a little bit.
Yeah. It's funny. It depends just if people expect you to talk or not. And I see you, Lane. I see you.
ECU, yes. Lane and I have played much Among Us in our day as well, and it was fun to actually sort of go back because I think that was the first time I'd played in probably a year and a half.
I just had a funny moment. I had something relevant to the standing out bit. That's
Please.
relevant to Lane. Am I allowed to talk about this little funny bit from our first experience? My first experience with Lane is really funny, actually, and it's relevant to our statement. So
I'm so
Lane
excited.
It's so ridiculous. I just told you about the other day too. The first time we got to like properly meet each other, we were in a collab with Obake Pam. It was a voice acting collab where we were doing Nikkei events.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So here's the thing. We were mid collab, and I just hear Lane just go, just confused, just goes, I think I know you.
She's told me this story. So it's so good to hear it from you. The confirmation of, yes, these details are lining up one-to-one.
You know, it was real. I'm just sitting there like, I'm like baffled. She's just like, yeah, no, I think I know like you, just based on your voice alone. And to this day, I was just like, ain't no way. I'm like, if you know what? DM me my name. DMs me my full government name.
Yep.
Literally, we'd never met before that in this sphere. And then we were introduced to each other by a person in another country, and she recognized me off my voice alone.
If you know Lane, you know every bit of that story scans.
But yeah, so I guess you're right about standing out too much.
Congratulations, I think? Question mark? But also, Obake Pam, very, very dear friend of the channel. She's been on as well. I helped her out a little bit with her Christmas concerts, which are just some of the most incredible and frankly baffling productions in the VTubing sphere, in my opinion, of some, I don't know, just, what was it, 400 guests?
Genuinely, if I were to make like a top 10 list of like hardest working VTubers in this entire industry, I would definitely put Pam up there.
She does so much. It's kind of absurd.
Oh, I miss Pam.
But you do quite a bit yourself. You've been around the block doing a lot of different things, whether it be, you do a lot of different voice acting, whether it be on those collabs or just on your own. I know you've actually been doing a pretty big playthrough of Silksong recently.
Oh, I did just finally get to start Silksong proper. Being gone so long, it was one of the games I really wanted to save for stream. And so this week, I was just like, you know what? No, we're just going to go at it. We're just going to play. And if there's ever a game without voices, you gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just fun that way.
Mm-hmm. I've done that with friends, not here on VTuber Talk per se, but just, anytime we're playing a game or if there's something that I've appeared on other IRL friend streams, just, one-off things and that we'll voice through it, and it's a ton of fun. And we actually did here on my channel as a charity marathon reward last year. It was a script read of Monty Python the Holy Grail. And that was myself, Lane, and director Nemo. The past years I'd done solo read-throughs of Super Mario 93, The Room, and B-Movie. And I've got a little something that I'm cooking up for this year's charity script read. Just getting some last scheduling figured out on that, because this year, if everything falls into place, it's going to be 4 of us, and it's not a movie this time, but it's going to be something really special for the 4 involved in particular. And there's a good chance that half the people who would tune in won't be familiar with it, and it'll just seem real weird. But for those involved and for those who know it, it's gonna be fun. I'm not gonna say what it is, but I'm gonna DM you because I want your reaction.
Oh no. Oh god. All right. Let's see this. Why would you do this to yourself?
Because it's amazing. And it was
I can't
written.
spoil
It was written to be spoken. It is nothing if not conversations.
I mean, you're not wrong. I cannot believe this. I can't spoil it for you guys, but it's cursed.
I don't think it's cursed.
It's cursed.
I think it's sort of, God, I hate to call it vintage at this point, but
I was gonna say nostalgic, but
I like nostalgic a lot better.
Vintage.
Nostalgic doesn't sound nearly as bad as vintage. I actually prefer yours.
Yeah. Let's say nostalgic. It is vintage. We're old. Don't call me old. My birthday is in like 2 weeks. I don't need to be feeling older than I am.
Well, happy almost birthday.
Thank you.
Planning anything fun for it?
I'm actually planning a subathon, a birthday subathon with a special little detail that I haven't announced yet.
Oh, I'm excited.
I'll tell you a little. Oh, wait.
Oh, yep. No, we're sort of passing notes back and forth here. We're just teasing you, chat. Sorry. Ooh, oh, dang.
Yeah, a little sneak peek. A little sneak peek for the boy.
Oh, you're gonna want to tune in to Exo's birthday, folks. That's a big. How far along is that?
That's a great. Wait, how you mean like how far preparation's going?
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot more work to do. I was missing a piece of equipment that should be here the next couple days, so I'm like about
Fingers
to be on
crossed. Fingers
crunch
crossed.
time. Fingers crossed.
Like, if there's anything I can do to help out, I don't think there would be, but if
Actually,
somehow there is, let me know.
I appreciate that. You know, help me hunt Lane. I have to hunt Lane after being hunted by Lane.
Done and done.
All right, you hear that, Lane? I have backup now. Oh, but yes, so I forgot what I was going to say. So for the subathon, I want to I'm going to be honest, part of me wants to try to beat my record.
Oh, and what's the record?
My longest subathon was 60 days.
Ooh, okay. And are you the type that is running the stream constantly? And obviously you're not on stream constantly, but do you keep the model up with, replays in the background?
24/7.
Ooh, buddy.
24/7, 60 days straight is my record.
I do not do subathons. My annual charity marathon is very deliberate. It is 2 days, 12 hours each. There's no timer involved. I am not brave enough. I don't know if I'm not brave enough or not crazy enough, possibly both, to try a legitimate subathon. I respect the heck out of those that do, but I have not braved that.
I'm going to be honest. It is actually something I would not recommend most people do. And here's the thing. As someone who, proudly likes to plan subathons, I don't do it often, but when I do, I try to make a big, fun event out of it. But I actually have a, long opinion on subathons that, I think they're utilized very unhealthily a lot of the time.
I think that we have crossed the boundary of, I don't know if practicality is the best way to phrase it. I think they're a little bit overdone nowadays. But I also think that in some ways there may be some amount of bad data in the sense of since the VTuber sphere is so much larger nowadays and there are just simply more people around that it's sort of difficult to tell, all right, is it just since there's more people, there are more subathons happening, even if people are only doing it once or twice a year, versus how many folks are embarking on consistent subathons. And I think it's a bit of column A and a bit of B, but
it is a mix of both.
Yeah.
I would agree. It's a mix of both. Because at the end of the day, subathons turned into I'm going to phrase it terribly, but it turned into a cop-out way for content creators to make money. It is, because it is hard to make money as a content creator, especially if you're on Twitch, because you are not generally initially incentivized to receive monetization. And subathons are the easy bake oven method of...
It's a very consistent mechanic. That isn't to say that, there's a reason people do it. Plain and simple.
There is.
And I completely agree. And I don't think that's inherently wrong, especially for folks, that are trying to make ends meet, trying to make content into a career. But I think that en masse, it has resulted in an amount of exhaustion. And I don't think it's anyone's fault, certainly, but it's just the reality.
There's a lot of things behind it. Like there is an oversaturation of them. Some people, I have seen some people that I witnessed them in a subathon. Their subathon ends, and then less than 2 months later, they're in another subathon, and I'm like, why?
That's when I sort of things like, okay, at that point, I worry that they're making it harder on themselves in some ways.
When I say there's a lot of unhealthy behaviors, like I agree that yes, they are making it harder on themselves. Not just with that, but things like subs per time, where I've seen things like one sub is like 20 minutes.
Oh, no. Oh, God. No,
exactly.
And like, because I remember back in the day, it used to be one sub was 5 minutes. And
yes,
when channels were smaller, when viewer numbers were smaller, frankly, that was a practical number. And it became the gold standard. And that gold standard did not move as the space and numbers as a whole, fortunately, increased, because that's a good thing. That means people are getting more viewers. That means more people are watching VTubers.
Yeah.
But since that number didn't move, it meant people were getting 100-hour timers out the gate. And just, it makes it so difficult to chip away at, I would imagine. And obviously, as someone who hasn't done it, I don't want to armchair quarterback folks and say, oh, you should do it this way, that way, the other way. But I will say, as someone who watches with, I would like to think, some amount of context, I feel like numbers need to change, and some have, but some haven't.
Here's going to be my hot take on this, is unless you have a reason for doing it with like this, and that's not monetization, you should never make your base time per sub more than 5 minutes. God forbid, maybe I can see an argument for 10, but anything past that, because some people say because they're so and small that they need to do it for it to like be in any form of time. But my counter argument would be to that: if you feel you are too small to run a subathon at base numbers, you should not be focusing on a subathon. You should be focusing on other parts of your content and what you're doing, because especially if you want to see growth, you should be focusing on you, not following trends. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, at least not following that trend. Not to mention, the more you make every sub worth it, the more that it is not feasible financially, because you're going to give so much of your time for an amount of money that literally cannot sustain you for the time you have to be on stream.
Yeah, at a point, you actually need to do the math of what am I literally being paid per hour? And if the math doesn't math, you're putting yourself in a bad position that way. Again, this is some armchair quarterbacking, so I don't want to pose myself as some authority or someone who knows better than others, but something I think I would like to see more people experiment with, perhaps, that I don't see very often is, okay, instead of a subathon, instead of a timer, I get the idea of goals. And I think there's a way to do goals that aren't necessarily related to a timer, of just say, hey, this is our monthly goal, and that if we reach, this many for the month, that, I'll do a cover song, or that, it basically port all of the standard subathon goals into a monthly thing, because yes, content creators, anybody needs to have a consistent source of income. And I understand the mechanics of creating incentives that, yes, that's great. You want to reward your viewers, your supporters, for supporting you. And that's wonderful. It's not just, oh, hey, please sub so you can get some emotes. So you're trying to offer them more. That's a great mentality. But I think they can do that without the timer. I don't think the timer is required on this.
I agree. Like, here's the thing is, there are so many other ways to promote your content, to monetize content. And even if you do, because I've seen people be like, I'm going to do a 24-hour subathon. when you can just do a 24-hour special event with incentives otherwise.
Exactly.
Like, because I've seen people be like, hey, the max cap is 24 hours. But instead, like, I think one example for me is I run 24-hour game streams where I attempt to beat long games in 24 hours. And my first ever one I did was Final Fantasy X.
And you mentioned to me that is one of your favorite games, if not your favorite game of all time.
It is. There's been a couple of contenders recently, but I think 10 is still my favorite. But what I did was I know I can beat Final Fantasy X regularly around 19 hours-ish. However, I made it so that as we went through the game, the more subs that we reached, the more restrictions my game would gain. I would lose access to abilities. I'd have to throw out equipment. I would lose access to mechanics. Or there would be, as we got harder and harder for the stuff we had to do, it got to a point of like the final thing was like the hardest challenge in the game, but without cheesing it.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I did do it. And there are things that... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it doesn't sound like this is being run via crowd control, that you're just doing this manually.
I did that manually for that. I wish Final Fantasy X had crowd control.
So you get to the final challenge and you have to do this, you said, without cheesing it. And as somebody who is not familiar with FF10, but knows Final Fantasy and, JRPG general mechanics and such, what does that mean in this context?
So there are two challenges in Final Fantasy X specifically for like the hardest ones. One is dodging lightning. I have only ever done that once in my entire life. There is a weapon that you can only max upgrade by getting a material. There's an area that randomly will strike lightning at you, and you can press X to dodge it. You have to dodge 200 lightning bolts in a row.
Huh?
And it is a few seconds in between each lightning bolt.
Oh. Well, that's just...
Yeah.
So is that in addition to the rest of the normal boss fight, or is that sort of just a marathon dexterity challenge?
So if there are things that I haven't done before the 24-hour mark, I try to do them later. But it's like the main completion of the game is the goal by the end of the stream.
Melker says that FF10 is secretly a rhythm game.
I could see that. That's pretty funny. And the last one, Final Fantasy X has one of the hardest bosses in, I would say, RPG history. If you don't cheese it, there is a way to cheese it and insta-kill the boss. But if you don't, it is a 30-minute boss fight with, I believe, only 3 documented ways to actually beat it.
Well, how does that happen?
So you know how, like, on average, 9,999 is like the max health you get, and like around 100k is like the max damage you can do usually.
Yeah.
So Penance is a boss whose basic attacks do 20,000 damage to the entire party.
That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. Yeah, Penance. And because of the way the boss functions, the utility the boss has with the general output that he has is so overwhelming that if you don't perform actions in a very, very specific way, you will almost guaranteed be party wiped every single time.
Do you think this was design intent of this is a big, scary final boss. You can't just do it most ways. There has to be a very specific thing that you do, and that's part of the challenge. Or do you think this boss was overtuned?
I would say the prior, because the way that you are supposed to fight it is very clear, and that is part of the strategy.
Okay.
It's just sort of you do these things, and then you still have to make sure you're maintaining... I'm trying not to be too spoilery on things. And then you still have to maintain, like, a certain rhythm of making sure your party's healed. You're making sure the boss can't use certain attacks, and then it's like there's a lot of status ailment things to worry about.
Yeah, so you have to do a specific thing that I'm guessing, like you said, it's telegraphed in a way, and perhaps even explained via lore or scenario why you need to do a thing. And once you have done this thing, then you actually can feasibly fight the boss, and you still have to go through a normal boss's worth of challenges. But unless you do this prerequisite, it's basically a brick wall.
Yes.
And that in this challenge, you don't get to do that prerequisite.
Well, no, not. It's not that. It's more of the prerequisite. The cheese thing is more of this isn't a spoiler. There is a summon in Final Fantasy X that is infamous for the move Zanmato. And the reason why I say it's cheese is Zanmato is a move that's very hard to access, but if you know how to do it, it is the best move in the game because it literally kills anything in the game instantly. Anything.
Including big bosses?
Including every boss in the game.
Oh, wow.
No boss is immune to it. They only have resistances to it. So it might be harder for you to use the move, but no, every single boss dies in one hit to this move.
Wow.
There is no resisting this move.
I mentioned I missed out a lot on Final Fantasy series, and this was mostly because I grew up a Nintendo gamer, just didn't have a PlayStation. That if I went to a friend's house and they had a PlayStation, we'd be playing 2-player games. So Final Fantasy, the first and only one I've ever played to almost completion, is FF3 for the DS, which wasn't actually FF3, but that's an entirely different story. And I didn't beat the game because the final boss for that is actually 5 final bosses, and there's no saving between them. And it's just a slog.
That would be a tad difficult. That would just be a little difficult.
And I got past 3, and I sort of realized, okay, I can go back and grind for however many hours it takes to get my party to obscene levels to make it so I can just battering ram my way through these 5 bosses back to back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
I do not feel that the amount of hours I would have to grind is worth, saying I beat 2 more bosses. I have gone through this game. I have, seen 95% of the story. I can look up whatever the ending sequence is. I have experienced this game enough, and I am choosing to not invest that extra 10 hours or whatever it is. And that is, unfortunately, the only Final Fantasy game that I've ever played, even to that extent. And I do know I've missed out a lot. There's been FF7 Remake, which I've looked at and been like, maybe I should do that because obviously 7 is so meaningful. I've had a lot of people recommend 6 in particular, 8 for a couple. 10 is, I feel like, I don't want to call it underappreciated. I feel like people love FF10, but not as many people hold it up as their number 1.
It's actually pretty popular. I think the thing for 10 is that I think 10 is also the one that everyone acknowledges has gotten a lot of love. And so it's like, if anything, I would say it's not that it's overrated, it's that everyone knows. They're like, yeah, we like this game. This game's great. This game got a remake. It was one of, it was PS2, so it wasn't one that was, super, super far back and hard to get. It got the remaster, and a lot of people have gotten to experience 10, but there are a lot of, 6 and 8, so much fewer people have gotten to experience. 7 was originally a PlayStation 1 title that was a 4-disc game, and I'd say 7 and 10 are the ones that have gotten the most limelight, and 6 is generally considered to be unbelievably good, but a lot that one gets the underrated one, the underappreciated, because anyone who's played it puts it high up on their list.
Yes, anyone who knows so 6 loves 6.
Yeah.
I think it's it's got that cult classic status, and I think over the years, it has gotten that reputation of being a cult classic to the point where I think more people have gone back and played it. Certainly more so than, like, I guess, if anything, the one I would say at this point is perhaps the most niche and I don't know if I'd call it underrated, but underplayed, perhaps ironically, I'd say is probably just FF1. Nobody ever plays FF1.
Yeah, no, here's the thing is the further back you go into Final Fantasy, it almost gets to a point where the games are very loosely games. So it's like, it's no one really talks about the early ones until you get to like 4.
Yeah. So I feel like,
depending if you mean American 4 or Japanese 4.
Yeah, as well. That's the other thing that works against it, of the earliest ones did not necessarily make it to the West, and if they did, it wasn't necessarily in the correct order or with the correct title.
Yeah. Which is funny.
But obviously, Final Fantasy, it's not a hot take to say one of the most storied, no pun intended, franchises in gaming, that it has had a concert series. It has had numerous spin-offs. You have pop-up shops for that one. Obviously, MMO, which has been able to miraculously survive and then basically get rebooted, which is, at least to my knowledge, pretty much unprecedented for MMOs. And if anything, I would say is now one of the top MMOs right now. I don't have stats in front of me, but it's one of the only ones that has ever felt like it could even hold a candle in terms of fandom to World of Warcraft itself. And
honestly, I think it might have overtaken WoW by this point.
I'm curious, yeah, because I think not, because I
say.
know the Chinese user base for World of Warcraft is obscenely large.
The thing is, the fan base for 14 is
rabid.
It's bad enough that they have to lock multiples of their servers in various locations because there's too many people. You literally cannot join like half of the servers because they are full.
Yeah.
Which, that is saying something.
Absolutely. Not seeing numbers, but a quick search says that WoW does still have more active players. Have to look up sometime sort of where that falls in terms of markets, because I would be curious. I could believe that there are more players active in Japan in particular than in World of Warcraft, and I'd be interested to see what the numbers are like for North America. I know that, like I said, the Chinese player base for World of Warcraft has always been very, very high, so that might end up skewing numbers potentially.
Yeah.
Did you ever try FF14, or is that part of the series that you have decided to not go down that particular path?
I've tried it a couple of times, and I feel like my problem is I've tried to play it on stream, and I feel like it's not a game that I can play on stream and focus on it, and I don't get as much appreciation for it on stream.
That's understandable. Usually when I see folks play it, yeah. Anyone I've seen play it on stream is usually being guided by an experienced player, and that it becomes not necessarily a conventional collab per se, but it becomes this shared experience. And that way they have someone to, one, make sure that things move along, but also explain things and add a layer to it that isn't necessarily going to be there in a normal, all right, I'm streaming this playthrough just myself.
Okay.
But it's also a very big time commitment, I know. I know folks that have done that like once a week for 3 years and are now like getting caught up.
It's so much. It's a very heavy undertaking.
For sure, yeah. You mentioned that you'd been waiting a while to play Silk Song. You're now going through it. Do you have an idea of what the next game down on your list is?
Expedition 33.
Ooh, fast answer.
Yeah, I already have it lined up. It's sitting next to me, and I'm like, I want to try that game. It feels wrong that I haven't played it since I attended the Game Awards this past year.
That's right, you did.
I did. I felt so lost being like, I haven't played Expedition 33. And the next award goes to Expedition 33. And so I just sat there and I'm like, maybe I should play this game. My friend bought me this game. I want to play this game. I told him I played on stream. I should probably play this game.
Yeah, I've heard so many good things, and I know obviously, not going to get into the nitty-gritty of the slight controversy of art and assets that have been involved with that, but from a design and narrative perspective, I've heard nothing but good things about that game.
Yeah. We should play it. You got to play it too.
Probably should. I'm so far behind on so many games. It's
playing video games.
Absurd. Playing video games? No, absolutely not. My consumption of games has dropped dramatically in the past 10 years. And in a way, watching streams is how I consume most of my games nowadays. It takes something very special for me to sit down and play it myself.
Okay, that's fair.
And I don't necessarily like it. That's just sort of where I end up.
By the way, I just a random side tangent. I want you to know, don't think I didn't notice the tags for this stream.
Well, yes. I don't feel like there's anything particularly surprising there. Did one catch your eye?
3 of them caught my eye. I'm looking. I see that.
But where would you like to go next?
Hotel.
Choose your own adventure, Exo.
Oh God, choose my own adventure. You know what? Let's go on a happier note, because if we get on Legend of Zelda, I know exactly where that's going to go, and I'm going to start going on a rant. So I'm going to pick Has-Been Hotel.
Alrighty.
Well, Has-Been Hotel. What a wonderful selection, Exo.
Yeah, that's what we're doing now. That's what we're doing.
I mean, we can if you want.
I suppose if you really feel like it, we can do that any day of the week. Well, just wonderful. It's not every day that I get someone who has that ready and waiting in the wings. So, welcome to Vtuber Talk. Well, it is a radio show or something like that. What was the line? Clout-chasing mediocre video podcast? You're not wrong. It is a radio show, so I suppose it's only appropriate, isn't it? Yes, indeed.
For the sake of the listeners, I won't subject them to it too much, but I couldn't resist.
I was like, yeah, he's gonna, yeah, sir. Is this what you expected? A man who could meet you on any battlefield?
Yes, indeed. And because it was really funny when we spoke. Well, actually, it was just yesterday, and we were talking about different things for today. Has-Been did not come up. And you'd mentioned that a lot of what you've been watching lately isn't anime, but a lot of Western media. You mentioned Murder Drones, Mighty 9, and a couple others. And Has-Been sort of like pinged in the back of my head. It was like, I've been watching Has-Been, but you didn't bring it up. And it was a little bit later, I was just checking your social feeds and I saw that you had done a one-take thing of Once We Get Up There, which I had done a cover of with Lane, funny enough, and Miss Lala for my charity marathon. So it was like, wait a minute. Not only is it the same series, but No Scope, same song.
Same song.
Yeah. And then we sort of talked Has-Been back and forth for a little bit. So I'm curious of your overall, I don't want to say opinion of Has-Been, but what about Has-Been appeals to you? Because I have my own answer, which I don't know is necessarily the average one. But I think it's a very strong series. It has gotten a lot of popularity in the past few years. So how does Has-Been come across your awareness, and what hooked you about it?
Ooh, how it came across my awareness? I was one of the people who watched the pilot ages ago. Things just kind of sort of slap into my lap. And I'm just like, well, time to critique this thing. And I think the concept itself is really unique, interesting, fun. Like, it's a series where, at base default, you are allowed to have a lot of characters who are pieces of shit. And it's okay. And it's a rare instance because in media, I'm going to steal from BoJack Horseman. Media, everyone is doing these grand gestures of being good. But when, being good is supposed to be, you have to be generally, dependably reliable constantly. And in media, most of the characters are held to that standard. But in a series where you are literally taking place in hell, it's one of those interesting cases where you can make horrific people where the point is they're horrific, and by base of the show's own narrative and moral standards, they don't necessarily have to get better, but the point is that they can, and that plays into the show's narrative and direct story on its own right, and I find that super interesting. Also, I like musicals.
That's me. That's where I am. I'm a filthy theater nerd. I'm a drama kid, and just, we don't get nearly enough show tunes in normal popular media. And anytime I can get some show tunes in my popular media, it's almost an instant sell for me.
Yeah.
The distinct exception of this being Glee, which I don't... That's a loaded one for many reasons. I never watched Glee, that's the thing, and just the bits and pieces I saw, I did not care for. I thought the characters were really annoying.
I'm thinking, now that you brought Once We Get There to my mind, I know I'd mentioned to you the other day that Vox's voice specifically has, caused a bane to my existence. So, as you've mentioned, I do voice acting, and Vox's voice and trying to impersonate it made me have to, practice types of speech that I've never had to, really focus on as hard as I had before Vox.
Yeah, Christian Borle is the actor for Vox.
Yes.
And he has such a distinct tone in his voice. It's not nasally, but it's in the nose area. I'm not sure the proper term for it. And it's the type of thing that you hear, and it doesn't sound particularly special or difficult. But then you go to try and emulate it, and you're like, wait, how do you do this?
So here's the thing. The voice and pitch and all of that's already one thing. But see, he has something different. He has one thing that most characters, I've had no issue with this. He has dictation. That's a pain. The way that he pronounces words. A lot, my normal speech, I have some words I can't help it but have it into slurring almost. And once we get up there, can I give an example on taking one, a little bit of a line, sing it one way and then another way?
Yeah, please.
So first, I'm gonna sing Once We Get Up There with my own voice, the opening few lines, and then I'm gonna do it in lieu of Vox's style. So first we have Once we get up there and snag that angelic throne, our unholy trinity could make their realm our own. We'll pack up all their piety and redecorate. Bet our tower would look powerful with pearlier gates. Now, you notice there, I don't have very many hard consonant sounds, right? I have a lot of slurring, almost they're when I say snag, I almost don't say the G even, right? So now you go to Vox style, just once we get up there and snag that angelic throne, our unholy trinity could make their realm our own. We'll pack up all their piety and redecorate. Bet our tower would look powerful with pearlier gates.
Yep, and I encountered that exact realization when I was recording, and it's something that it's so easy to hear once you're listening for it.
Yeah.
But as you're just, enjoying the ride, it doesn't necessarily hit you. But yes, he has these very distinct accents, and also he has, I don't know what the technical term for it is, but growls that he has. Bet our tower would look powerful with pearlier gates.
Gravel?
Yeah, I don't even necessarily associate with gravel, but yeah, that it is that type of texture for the voice, and the way that he not only, I don't even know if it's the enunciation, but the placement of a lot of the accents in that song and in his speech in particular. You're absolutely right. It's something that's not intuitive, I suppose.
It's not, because here's another thing with voice acting that I tell a lot of people, because a lot of when you talk about voice acting, and a lot of people say I'd be interested in it, but I don't have all the voices. Which, first, don't ever hesitate, because your acting is what's important. But a lot of people are like, I can't do a lot with my voice. And the truth is, almost anyone actually can. The problem is, speaking is like breathing. You don't think about your speech.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of how we develop accents in the first place. We subconsciously change our habits in our voice, dictation, our pacing, based on what we hear, how we learn words, initial pronunciations versus how it develops. And we don't actively think about it unless we have it pointed out to us, or we notice something that we can't help but like pay attention to.
Or if we're trying to do something that isn't in that normal range, that for you, me, anybody at all, when you're talking in your quote-unquote normal voice, you just talk. You are not thinking about the way that you are moving your vocal cords. But if you are trying to do an accent of any type, it can be a very simple one, it can be an iconic one. If I want to talk, some amalgamation of a British accent, or possibly a little bit more into Scottish accent, I'm thinking instantly about how I'm actually changing my timbre, what I'm doing with my voice, where I'm placing the different vowels. But if a Scotsman were to walk in here and just talk, they would be treating their own vocal cords as casually and as intuitively as when I'm just talking like this. That when a Scotsman talks with that accent, they are not pushing their vocal cords, they are not modifying, they are just at a point where that is their default, because that is what they know.
Well, here's the thing, is sort of for some of it, because there are some habits that you would still need to be doing that, but the thing is doing that to them is what's natural.
Exactly,
Like for Cockney British is an example. I know everyone goes, it's Tuesday in it, but there are actual certain notes that even have technical terms, like the glottal T. Are you familiar with the glottal T?
Yeah.
The glottal T, where you don't actually pronounce the T sound for a lot of things, and you're instead swallowing the sound and coming inwards into the throat. So the word glottal. So if me saying normally, I say glottal T versus
glottal T.
Glottal T. Glottal T. So there's no T sound at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine Vox and Cockney. Once we get up there
and snag that angelic throne. Oh, God, because it wouldn't say angelic, it's angelic.
Angelic.
Our unholy trinity will make their realm our own. We'll pack up all their piety and redecorate.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. But it's a whole different thing, just changing the dialect and pacing, right?
Yeah. But it's the type of thing that if you're trying to get into voice acting, you just need to learn the awareness of what different accents do and figure out how to use your own voice.
Yeah. Like, that's just it. Like, I know one thing that I tote in pride nowadays is my voice acting range. But the reality is, the only thing that I did was I spent a lot of time when I was younger learning all of the different places my voice can go, because I had I originally learned to do things by, I would mimic other people and other things.
Yep.
Like, I'd learn. I was very much if I understand something can be done, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it led to me being like, okay, let me figure out where's all these textures, placements in my throat, and being like, all right, when I hear someone speak, I can almost kind of just immediately tell where in the throat they're speaking from, parts of their texture, and almost like there have been voices where I hear it once, and I can almost replicate it on the spot. It is if I can figure it out, like right there. But it's like, all it was experimentation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of what that mouth do. No, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry. Keep in mind, I have had many wonderful, incredible, talented adult content creators on this show. Like I said before we went live, I've had someone whose literal brand is Chaotic Swear Bunny. That was tame.
Just Chaotic Swear Bunny.
Yes.
You know, that's fair. I think I'm just so used to, like, I have two modes. I am either, you know, I feel like I'm pretty well behaved, or I'm the one raising the flag of anarchy.
I feel like we all have that. It's one or the other, and it's, you know, very fun of when to do what.
Yeah, exactly. One drink in. Let me tell you why Breath of the Wild sucks.
Oh gosh. No, we'll get there. But for the voices, I'm very much the same. That growing up, I don't like the phrase like inherent talent. I will say that I think I had perhaps a level of instinct of similar to you. If I hear something, I'm pretty good at replicating and at the very least getting close to it, and then sort of iterating and getting that last 10% into the full mimicry. But it's something that I do fully believe anybody has the ability to do, unless you have some legitimate condition to your vocal cords that prevents you from being able to go certain places. That if you just listen and do what you think is mimicry, record it, listen back, and listen, okay, what's the difference between me and the original? And then just sort of realize, oh, okay, they pause here, or the way that they do the glottal T. And just slowly nudge your way, and you can actually end up, I think, getting to mimicry relatively quickly if you know what your voice does and how to manipulate it.
Yeah.
And it's very fun.
I will say, with my experiences, like, one thing I have had to very unfortunately acknowledge is that talent to a degree is a thing. But at the same time, talent should not be what's relied on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like to ignore the concept of talent is to demean effort, weirdly enough. Because...
Okay, I guess perhaps I should rephrase then, because I
know that wasn't your intention.
Yeah, no, because that anytime it's effort, that is developed talent, and I believe that developed talent is 95% of someone's success. I think that there is perhaps 5% of some level of instinct or predisposition, but I think too many people discount themselves or get discouraged because they don't think they have that 5% of instinct, perhaps.
The last part I do agree with. I would counter on the first part, because at the end of the day, if you have a disposition and an ability to do well at something right away, you can do it, more than likely. But at the same time, if you rely on your inherent ability to do something, you're going to suffer. If you're talented at something, you might be able to do it way faster. You might even be able to be one of the greatest within a much quicker time span. But you also have to have the mind to keep you from getting in your own way.
Mm-hmm.
On the part of someone who has zero talent, when they get to that point, they never once forsake what they've done, because every step of the way they had to work hard as hell.
Yeah. And they're usually more adaptable.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is like that. If for someone who's talented, that's just it. Is on first thing you'd think that the one without the talent would be more adaptable, but the truth is the one who's talented probably is, but they don't need to, so they won't. Being willing to adapt and change and learn while having talent is what's important.
Yeah, I can absolutely agree that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. It's important to consider.
Yes. Alistair and Vox notwithstanding, do you have any favorite vocal ranges or impressions?
Oh my god, you don't know what worm box you just opened up.
Because I feel like most people who do this type of thing, have their bag of tricks, but also have these are my favorites. These are my go-tos. These are the ones I pull out at parties.
You know, before I even get to like other of my favorites, I have one favorite that's another that's in Has Been as well.
Oh.
Well, you know, both has been a hell of a boss, but you know, it all depends who you ask. Or Beetlejuice, but Alex Brightman at your service.
I always forget he's Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Oh wait, shit, I can't say it. I forget I said that. But also, you know, Dick Master, Alex Brightman's also, what is it, Adam in Has Been Hotel.
Yeah.
And I'm also working on Serpentius, but he's not ready yet.
Serpentius ends up being... It's a very subtle thing of how much to actually extend the S.
See, it's for me, it's more of like trying to figure out like combining them. Like combining Alex Brightman with that accent is like the tricky part because I've never toyed like I've toyed with like changing that voice to reach Adam, but like that's such a stretch that I'm toying with it a little more. Oh, you know what? I probably know what my favorite impression is. The one of the ones that got me started on it all. Are you ready for this?
Have at it.
All right. I command you, in the name of Lelouch v. Britannia, die!
And that's a very good segue into Code Geass, because one, very strong Johnny Young Bosch. And now I'm now remembering, because I've seen you pull that one out as a party trick before.
Wait, hold on, don't die. No!
Ah,
shit. Maybe I shouldn't pull that party trick out anymore.
don't worry, you didn't have eye contact. Wouldn't work through Vtubing.
That's fair. Actually, that would be really fun to consider. What counts as literal eye contact? Also, yes, I'm so sorry. It's a party trick, but as you can tell, you know, regular conversation still.
Johnny Young Bosch, just... it's interesting when you find people who are so good at performance that they don't even really need to do much different with their voice from role to role, because the voice that Johnny Young Bosch uses in, I'd say, 90% of his roles is just the same standard voice. And obviously he intonates and he makes the character, he does the full acting, but that his acting is so strong, he does not necessarily need to change his voice to do any of the lifting.
Which is funny, because he does have, like... So, as a Johnny Young Bosch aficionado... No, I'm kidding. I'm so sorry. Because, like, you're right, for a lot of them, like, when you hear Johnny, you know it's Johnny. Like, typically. Like, you have 3 sides of Bosch for the main voices he does. You have Lelouch. You know, Lelouch. A lot more dramatic, more carefully placed dictation. Very, how do I put it? Pronounced vocabulary. It's also the kind of voice that he uses for Itsuki Koizumi in Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, in Izaya Orihara and Durarara. But then you've also got, you know, it's kind of like more like high-pitched version. It's more like what Rossiu is at some points, or Almaz from Disgaea. And then some like middle grounds here and there. And then you get like really gruff JYB with like Ichigo Kurosaki.
Yeah, that's the third that goes into my mind of, okay,
Yeah,
it's not quite as refined, I suppose, as
Gets a lot more
Itsuki or
gruff.
Lelouch. Yeah.
God, I hit that just thinking of the Bon Kai.
Classic. Also, thank you
Yes.
to Administrator X in Zader Vim. Oh, I see what you did there. And F Young State,
That's
thank you
fun.
so much for the follows. Welcome on in.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
the
that's definitely
Bosch-
like that. Those performances are so good.
And Steve Bloom is also up there of just, if you hear his voice, you know it.
Actually, that's the funny thing. Steve Bloom has an even wider range.
Oh, he
Steve
does.
Bloom- Steve Bloom's like, I actually think Steve Bloom is like the sleeper. Because like when you hear like Crispin Freeman is one voice, but he's incredible. And you always love Crispin Freeman's work. But when you get to Steve Bloom, it's easy to forget the range that Steve Bloom has. Because sometimes you have Zabuza and Spike Spiegel. And then you have Leron from Gurren Lagann.
Yeah.
It is, or Orochimaru. It is very easy to miss Steve Bloom roles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because obviously the Spike Spiegel is sort of the iconic one that if you hear that voice, you know, oh yeah, that's Steve Bloom.
Yep.
But like you said, that he's able to do so much more with his voice. He's not necessarily asked to. I think it is the smart casting director that knows he can do more, certainly. But in some of those cases, you are right that you might actually miss him because he is so iconic for that Spike Spiegel voice that
Yes.
if you don't know it, you might have to do a double take.
Actually, for the one voicer, I actually know who my number one. They do one voice for all of their roles, but every role they're phenomenal, and that's Jameson Price.
Ooh, good call.
Jameson
Price only needs to have one voice. He sounds like down here, lower, and he's usually either a dad or much more dramatic in throwing himself out there like Iron Tiger, but it's always this voice.
Always the same, but every performance is good. Tager, Spiral King, Persona 5 Sojiro.
Yeah. That Sojiro is sort of where his voice solidified for me, that I'd heard him many, many times, but I think, one, just simply because of how much dialogue there is in Persona 5 and how long Sojiro gets to talk, that it's what really solidified it, and that, yeah, that's one of those voices that you can hear. The other that I associate a lot with, it was just one voice, but everything the guy did was golden. He is sadly no longer with us. That was Ed Blaylock, who didn't necessarily have a ton of voices, but if you heard his voice, you knew it. His most famous being King Bradley in Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, that's such a good performance too.
And that voice, that low, gravelly voice, is his normal speaking voice, and that he was a actor first before a voice actor, and had his amazing voice that he was able to leverage, but he was one that never really, I don't know if he even necessarily wanted to do others, because he enjoyed what he did with his voice so much, and that this is obviously me sort of projecting here, but I think that he felt that his voice was him, and that he loved performing as him in that way, and he was just so good.
Yeah. It's, at the end of the day, the acting comes first. If you can have a wide range of voices at your repertoire, that's just fuel in the fires.
Yeah, all the better.
But your wheels don't work if you can't act.
Yep.
I don't know if we're driving a train or a car, but I've made some kind of really fucked up some kind of terrible vehicle, and I don't know how to drive, and I've made mistakes.
Yeah, we sure are going somewhere. I don't know where we're going, but we're going.
We're going there. We're going down, down, down to the burning rings of fire. Oh, whoops. Sorry, I didn't mean to take us here again.
Well, we were in hell already for Alistair and Vox and everyone else.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
And like I was saying, for me, has been... I did not actually watch the pilot. It came to me after season 1 was done. And I had heard the name once or twice in passing. I knew it was a thing, but it wasn't until another friend had me watch it that I was like, okay. I think I really like your commentary about the characters, and I think there's a lot to that, of not only being able to have characters that are assholes, frankly, and that have these different types of, not even just flaws, but they are actually bad people, just plain and simple, and that you have that across the board, and it's not just, Always Sunny in Philadelphia is, I think, something that people associate with being, all right, the people in that series are not good people in the traditional character writing sense, but that Has-Beens, they're in actual hell, but then the roundabout of they're also, at least some of them, trying to redeem themselves, some not.
Be better.
And But at the end of the day, for me, like I said, it's the show tunes. I think the writing is good. I think the characters are incredibly iconic and fun. I think they are so good at being distinct and having their own personalities. And in some ways, there's just not enough runtime for them to really get too deep into the characters. And that's not necessarily a flaw of the writing. It is just an inherent limitation of shorter runtime shows. It is what it is. But that the songwriting is so strong and something that appeals to me, and it's something that we don't get in a lot of popular media. That obviously, you go to Broadway, there's new shows every season. But things that get in front of the mainstream and get to do that type of very iconic style of songwriting is something that very much appeals to me, and that's what I always keep coming back to Has-Been for.
I think that's valid as hell. Now, question is, what's your favorite song?
That's so tough. Because I've gone back and forth on these. For a while, I think it was Stay Gone.
Really?
Just, well, it's for different reasons of, if you ask me what is the best written song versus what is my favorite song versus what do I think is the catchiest, there's so many different things. And
That's fair.
That, for me, obviously, I don't think it's necessarily that I love Alistair as a character because I think he's particularly inspired. I just think he's fun. I think he's so damn fun, from the obvious with the voice filter and what he does to just the irreverence and the type of things that a character is able to do when they are not necessarily beholden to the same stakes as most of those around them, and are obscenely powerful and know it and are not afraid to let it be known that he's not vain in that, oh yes, I could completely kill you if I want to do if I wanted to hurt someone, I would have done so already. That's not him being vain. He's just that powerful and he knows it.
Yeah.
And the performance is so fun. So I'm predisposed to a lot of Alistair things in that way. I also really like Ready for This. I think that's one of the more underrated songs in the first season. But it's also, I think, one of the most Broadway songs in a lot of ways.
That I would agree with. I would definitely agree with one of the most Broadway songs. Because I was going to say, like, I do think it's probably a little underrated. I don't think, I think that one would go maybe like a B for me.
But what about you? For your favorite songs?
I'm going to do a season 1 and season 2.
Okay, that's fair.
Hold on. I'm just gonna I'm gonna bring up a tier list real quick and just have them in front of me. Okay, so season 1, Loser Baby's definitely on the top. Like, that may just be number 1. Loser Baby's incredible. Stayed Gone, I love, but it's just barely not quite there for me. Like, I love that song. Poison, I think, is great. It's not like Poison's the one that's like, it's not a musical song, but I still really like it. Like, as a song by itself, I'm just like, this, I just enjoy this. This is good. I take a little bite and it's a good song. I take a little chomp and it's good. And last for season 1. Oh wait, More Than Anything. That's the one. Yeah, More Than Anything.
Okay.
Incredible. For season 2, I mean, with Loser Baby being in first one, you're gonna be wrong if you hear me say anything but Love in a Bottle.
Yeah, that was pretty obvious. It's like, okay, I see what Exo's style is. I see what his preferences are.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I like a lot of different things, but Keith David just ate both of those songs so well.
For sure.
They're such a fun jive. I also would say, like, it's funny. I'm like using a tier list that I realized just now that I've already filled out, and I'm looking through the songs instead of just listing what I have in S tier. Which is really funny to me. What I have here is Love in a Bottle, Gravity, and Brighter.
Yeah, that scans. And certainly, I would say 3 of the, I don't want to say unanimously most popular songs, but they are very widely beloved, that those are ones that are going to be on a lot of people's tier lists.
Yeah, like honorable mentions to Losing Streak, Piss, and Sarah's Confession, though. Sarah's Confession has grown on me so much.
Yeah, Sarah's Confession is such a anomalous song, but I'm so glad that it's there, that it's one that obviously it is a very unique character in a unique situation, because, you know, it's one of the few folks that isn't in hell.
Yeah. It's also just, so it took me a while to learn that the voice for Sarah is the voice of Anastasia in Anastasia.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Once Upon a December, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be a sucker for that. But the only thing for that song is I wish it was a little longer. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Hear My Hope I really like, but also Friendship Beam does bring down that song a little.
Oh, it does. I was kind of disappointed with the finale of season 2.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, it's whatever. I'm gonna get over it. I'm gonna watch season 3. Don't get me wrong. But I
But it's
was
like, how did we get
absolutely, oh God, are we actually doing Power of Friendship here? Or is that our actual finale? Like, the song's good. I like that this is, you know, the big finale number. We're bringing everyone together. I see that. But yeah, Friendship Beam knocked it down a peg.
I'm not gonna lie. I am fine with season 2's ending being Power of Friendship. My problem, the thing I don't like is hey, what if we added a random mechanic where overlords just can make Friendship Beam, and we have no explanation for this whatsoever?
Yeah, that it was just sort of a hand wave of, this is, you know, everyone has some innate amount of power. There is no scale, there is no rating, there is no grading, but we all know that everyone in Hell has an amount of power, some more than others, overlords certainly on the more side, and that everyone is able to express their power in some way, shape, or form as a beam.
Yeah.
And it was just, here's all the beams, which we have never seen at any other point in this series.
Yeah, which, here's the thing is, if they alluded to it at any point in the series, that could have worked. Or even be like, all right, cool. This is a really cool way for us to find out that Nifty is an overlord.
Or to have those beams not just be, all right, it is colored and maybe has little fly-offs that are representative of their character, but to have them, you know, if we're going to do Power of Friendship saves the day, I want to see something a bit more personal and perhaps mechanical, I suppose, than just beam.
Beam! No, you have to activate the Friendship Beam. Do it now.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
And then we
But
also
otherwise-
had,
go ahead.
I was going to say, you know who voices Abel, right?
Patrick Stump.
Just that one, because I was not a big Fall Out Boy fan. It's not that I didn't like them. It's just they
You
weren't
familiar at the time?
like, I certainly knew of Fall Out Boy, and I've heard Fall Out Boy songs, goodness knows, but I wasn't, you know, buying their albums, listening to their stuff regularly to know the name Patrick Stump or know his voice offhand.
Right.
And then, you know, sometime shortly after watching the series, someone went back and was like, oh, he was a really strong, Abel did just have these breakout moments where I was just almost surprised at, whoa, why is this, you know, tertiary character just belting?
Yeah, no, his part during Hear My Hope is unabashed S tier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am hoping that we will hear more of him in the future, and it's just sort of a question of, well, how long are they able to get him in the booth? Because I assume he's a very busy man.
Here's the thing, so this is going to come in a very random side note. This is not the first time I've heard him sing a song in a like young adult cartoon. Right, this one I wouldn't say young adult for this one specifically. Because I also have heard him sing in the series Star vs. the Forces of Evil.
Oh.
Yeah, he has a song in that, and it's also a banger. And he shows up randomly in a few places. Like, he's weirdly this singer that it's very clear he's down to do some interesting, like, fun stuff.
Good for him. I love seeing folks that are very successful in one realm or another. And obviously, it's still singing at the end of the day, that it's not like he's doing this completely different thing that you would never, ever expect, but perhaps poking into genres or tangential realms that, frankly, he doesn't need to. He is more than successful enough on everything that he did with Fall Out Boy. I'm sure he could retire and live a quiet life and do whatever he wanted, or, you know, record covers or do other things. There is no active incentive for him to seek out voice acting or these types of roles. He's obviously in it for the love of the game, and I love that for him.
I will forever love the phrase "love of the game."
It's a good one.
In it for the love of the game. The best phrase. But his part in that song, it's so good.
And it feels like we're gonna get more of that character in the future.
We definitely are.
I'm very excited to see where they go with that, because both from a writing and narrative standpoint, they could have him stay this tertiary character who just pops up once or twice a season, gets an awesome verse, maybe gets a song every other season to himself, and is just there and awesome. There's also ways I could see him becoming central to the plot.
I could see that. Like,
my guess is he's
going to be important.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
going to be important now. Like, it's going to get to that point. We just needed this season to get there.
Yeah. This was very much a bridge season for a lot of characters, it seemed, that obviously Vox at the end of the day was the star, and I expect we will see a lot less of him, at least in season 3, because he had, no pun intended, so much screen time.
Yeah.
But curious to see where they shine the spotlight. That I think I read one thing saying that Valentino will be supposedly the V of particular note, and I don't think that I can't foresee Valentino getting as much screen time in season 3 as Vox got in 2. But
here's the thing: is it seems like they have a lot of things they want to address in season 3.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Season 3 very much seems like we have a lot of our pieces in place now. Time to mess around.
Yeah, the board is now established.
Yeah. Generally speaking, that's where I feel on it.
Now, another series that has been really getting deeper that you mentioned that you watched was Legend of Vox Machina. That they're now 3 seasons in, so they've gone through several arcs, and I will say that I have not listened to Critical Role in any significant capacity. The animated series is the vast majority of my knowledge for that story. I'm not sure about you.
That it is for me too. Like, I came in, I've been tempted to watch because of the show, but it's one of those, there's so much to consume.
There's so much. I don't have time to play the video games, and when a Critical Role episode's 3 hours long.
Yeah, it becomes difficult. You know?
Yeah. Did you have a favorite character in Vox Machina?
It's tough, but I think it might be Percival. I might be a Percy guy. I really liked Keyleth a lot, but I actually like her a bit less in the last season that was out.
That's fair.
Grog is my favorite dumb character in any media ever.
He's such a good dumb character.
I'm normally not a big fan of the big dumb character trope. And he is one of the few cases that I look at and I'm like, you? I like you. He is just a good boy.
Yep, and that he's dumb, but he's not useless.
Yeah.
That he's a fully functioning Goliath, and is he smart? No. But can he be brilliant? Absolutely.
He's brilliantly dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that all that matters?
Yeah. For me, and I feel like this is probably very, very, very unsurprising, I'm a Scanlan guy.
No, Scanlan's incredible, too. Like, he is a character you don't expect to enjoy as much as you do, but he is so fun.
Yeah. That, like, the first episode, or sorry, like, introductory sequence of just, I don't usually like the, he's the Playboy character. Great. But then he starts singing in the throne room in episode 1 of just doing this intro sequence. And, like I said, me and my show tunes, anytime you get a character singing and doing it well, you have my attention. But he also just has this really good, witty, quippy dialogue, which mirrors Alistair in a lot of ways. I am nothing if not consistent.
Look, you know what you like. That's all it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
And speaking of things that you like, you mentioned to me that the follow-up series is not a sequel, but from the folks behind Legend of Vox Machina, Mighty
Yes.
Nine, which I have not seen at all yet. It has only had one season. You mentioned to me that you think you are prone to liking it after one season, possibly more than Vox Machina. And I don't think that's a knock on Machina, but
I don't think it's not. It's not.
yeah. But sell me on Mighty Nine. Why do I need to get off my ass and actually watch this series really, really soon?
Mighty Nine feels like the players in Vox Machina had their chance to kind of get into a certain comfort in the first series and with their original characters together. But by that point, they've now reached a new level of comfort with each other and things they want to explore. Vox Machina is, we fuck shit up and we are kind of wild and silly doing it. And as much as I love Vox Machina, the plot line for Mighty Nine immediately comes across as more grounded for a lot of its storytelling. And I very much like that personally. Characters are enjoyable. Like it's fun seeing, like, especially if you've gone through Vox Machina as a show and you realize that the players have gone from like X character to another character, it gets way more fun.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of it from that perspective, but that makes sense.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna hold on. Like, I'm gonna pull up the Mighty Nine cast real quick to myself, just so I can have them in my mind fresh while thinking this. Like, because without saying any deep information about the characters, you have Laura Bailey goes from Vexalia, a very serious elf rogue, to a prankster tiefling warlock. You go from, actually, the only one who's consistent across the board is Sam Riegel. Sam Riegel
who is Scanlan.
Yep, goes from gnome bard to drunk goblin girl.
Oh, that's funny. He did a gender bent for it too. Ooh.
Yeah, no, he plays a female character, and he also does voice her in the show. He is doing a voice for a girl.
That makes me so happy.
Percival DeRollo goes from a human artificer to a tiefling swashbuckler who sleeps around and is a carny.
Oh my God. That's one of the most stark dualities that I can think of, because that's, obviously nothing here is one-to-one, but that's almost him becoming Scanlan in a way. But swashbuckling in particular has a flavor to it. And going from Percival is literal nobility, and he acts
Also,
the part. And to
and
go
now he
to
goes to a
swashbuckler, a carny in particular, oh my gosh, that has to be fun.
And I will say he doesn't really come across more like Scanlan. He actually, because he if anything plays more like the heart of the group. He's very like jovial.
Ooh,
He's very
okay.
fun. He's very happy.
All right, so it's not menacing, chaotic swashbuckler carny. It's more of more bardic, frankly.
Yeah, and that's Talos and Jaffe. Grog, so Travis Willingham, goes from Grog to Ford. So goes from half-giant barbarian to, I think, also swashbuckler. I'm not sure, but lizard folk, former ship hand, aspiring ship captain.
Ooh, okay.
And then you have Bo, who is... Oh, God, I haven't even gotten to Travis Willingham, or not to Liam O'Brien yet, but... God, that's not Ashley Johnson. Ashley Johnson's character, I will not spoil because they have not properly shown up yet. Marisha Ray goes from Keyleth, the good-hearted druid, to a monk who thinks sleeves are for losers and prefers to punch everything.
Gosh, I have to imagine, because obviously these characters were written for the campaign, not for an animated series, that happened after the fact.
Yeah.
And it certainly makes sense that after playing a certain type of character for so long, you're probably predisposed to think, okay, what is the most inverse thing that I can do that I think I will still have fun with? I want a different type of character because, especially when you're not just playing it for so long, but that you are performing it and that you are known for it in a actual audience-facing role, that if you're given that agency to choose your next role, you're probably going to diversify both for your own sanity and perhaps a non-zero amount for branding of just like, okay, I don't want to get pigeonholed as this character. I want to do other stuff.
Yeah, you want to explore.
That's
and yeah, that's
very
part of it.
fun.
Yeah, so they get to explore those characters and dynamics that way.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get around to that.
Oh, but the last one, Liam O'Brien, goes from Vaxeldan, the elf rogue, to Caleb. Caleb, the how do I phrase? The human trash wizard.
Human trash
He's very
wizard.
Smelly.
I have so many questions, but I figure
Yeah.
I'll just have to watch.
Correct. I thought it would be more fun that way for you.
It's a good hook. It's a very good hook.
You're welcome. I like to say I'm pretty good at that.
And then there was Murder Drones that you mentioned, which is from the folks behind Amazing Digital Circus. And I haven't seen that
Yes.
one at all yet either. I don't even know anything about Murder Drones. I know the name. I know that obviously after Digital Circus basically took the world by storm a year and a half or whatever it was ago now, that they have had this massive windfall, and deservedly so, and are now doing a bunch of other things, one of them being Murder Drones, and that's all I know.
Murder Drones is a lot of fun. It's the best way I could describe Murder Drones, at least to me, is junk food. The writing has some parts of it that are very interesting, but it's not. There's also a lot of admittedly cringe writing, but in a way that's kind of like fun and sometimes even charming. And it's a silly little series. And how do I put it? It's animation, a unique world, and very fun, endearing, silly characters. Which is always a good time.
For sure, yeah. And at its heart, I would say that's very much what Amazing Digital Circus is. Obviously,
Yes.
it goes many other places. Does Murder Drones attempt to do the surrealist things that
No.
Circus does?
It does have some deep plots, but no. It is very, it is much more direct on its intent, on its story.
Mm-hmm.
It plays a lot in parodies of horror. It's almost like a
Oh.
sci-fi horror fantasy,
Okay.
which is fun in its own right.
And I do like
But
the
it's definitely
designs.
different. Yeah, no, the designs are very fun. It has very memorable characters to a point that, like, I now have to question one of my weirdest hear me outs, and I get to say hear me out to a robot.
I mean, I know a lot of people who say hear me out to many, many, many robots.
That's true. This one sounds like GLaDOS, though.
Is it actually, why am I blanking on her name?
It is not the same voice actress.
Okay.
I will say, when I heard it, I did have to look it up to check. Because I was like, there's no way, right? It's not. Okay. I was very uncertain at first.
Ellen McLean, that was the name. She hasn't done a ton of things in terms of gaming recently. That she's been an actress for many, many, many years. But obviously sort of gained notoriety in nerdy spheres very much for GLaDOS, and that her voice was basically directly ported into Pacific Rim 1-to-1 for that. And it's become, I would say, one of the more iconic robot performances of the past 20 years.
Oh, 100%. There's not even a doubt. Like, that voice is iconic. Like, when I am referencing a character in Murder Drones, and my default response is to say they sound like GLaDOS, that is a compliment to the original GLaDOS voice actress.
Yeah.
Because when you, like, it's when you say, oh, this sounds like this person, it's because that voice is that iconic to you. It's that memorable.
Yeah.
That's what Plankton's computer wire Karen, the power couple.
God.
God damn it, guy. But is he wrong, though?
Seaweed. 50% sea, 50% weed.
That Plankton. 99%.
1% evil, 99% hot gas.
God. That every time. That's such a good bit. It's such a good bit. Oh. But yeah. Murder Drones. It's been such an interesting, like, thought to myself continuously, like, having it come to mind. Because every time I'm just like, how do I feel about this show? I think it's really good. But it's also, like, just super interesting to think of half the time. Because how do I put it? Have you ever had a series that you like, but at the same time, it left you with a really weird taste in your mouth about things, and you just can't help but think of them?
In the sense of there were things you didn't like about the series that aren't outweighed by the things that you like, or that it made you think about things outside of the series?
I think more so along the lines of things that I may not have liked, but at the same time, I don't sit there and think, like, the stuff that was in the show, sometimes there was cringy writing. It wasn't enough to make me dislike the show, but it's like it's like junk food. You don't really feel, like, always great after eating it, but you know you enjoyed eating it.
Yeah. And there's a fair bit of anime like that for me, where it's just, okay, I know it's not inspired writing, but it's still fun. It is something to just sort of turn your brain off a little bit, and that the characters and the writing are distinctly above average in that if it were boring, frankly, I'm not going to watch it. I would stop watching it. But it is very fun, and that I enjoy watching it, even if I recognize it's not necessarily higher, nor is it trying to be.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be.
Yeah. I think the best thing that any piece of media can be is what it wants to be. And I love a series that knows it does not want to be Shakespeare. It just wants to be silly and do some weird stuff. I don't like a series that thinks it is very highbrow and is just fumbling constantly. Give me the show that is dumb, is trying to be dumb, and knows it's dumb, and is proudly being as dumb as it possibly can be.
Yeah, I'm here for that. I'm 100% here for that.
I think it's almost similar to Grog, that you have dumb characters and then you have characters that are dumb that are still really good.
Yes. We love Grog in this house.
Yeah.
The opposite is also true. Nothing worse than seeing a series not be able to be what it wants to be. Shouts to all the Axed manga I've ever read. Oh,
Ugh.
yeah. Now I'm thinking of BoJack Horseman. Are you familiar?
Familiar in the sense of I've seen like 2 episodes and I certainly know its reputation. I haven't just watched much Adult Swim animation in the past, honestly, decade. Not out of active avoidance, but just I haven't had cable really since I moved out on my own. That it's not on any of the streaming services that I frequent. I've also heard it's very dramatic and perhaps a bit too real in some ways that I don't necessarily gravitate toward in terms of what I watch in my free time. But in that sense, my aversion to it is a compliment to it in that I have heard enough that I believe it is doing something that it wants to do very well, and it's just not my cup of tea.
That's fair. That's very fair. It is an incredible series. It is one that I will affirm the tests of people saying a bit too real. It is probably one of the realest shows you'll ever watch, and in my opinion, has one of the best written episodes in media history.
Okay, now you say best written episodes, not necessarily best written series, not necessarily best written ending, but a individual episode.
So the second to last episode, the ending is really good. I actually think the ending is very well done, but the episode before the ending is like one of the most haunting, beautifully done, terrifying episodes of a show you will ever watch. And it's very much sticks with you. Oh, hi, Major. It very much sticks with you. It is... How do I phrase? It's every bit of it. Every single instant of that episode is carefully thought out and carefully constructed. But that's not the episode that I'm about to make a quote from. There is an episode by the name of Free Churro where there is a eulogy given, and BoJack proceeds to go on a tangent about a show called Becker. And he talks about how he never liked the show, but he kept watching it until it was canceled. And when it got canceled, he got really bummed out. Not because he liked the show, but because then, from that moment on, he knew it could never be good. He knew that despite this show having all of the pieces to be something great, it never will, and it will never get that chance. And this is one of those moments. I was like looking at Guy's comment. It made me think of that.
Yeah, I'm very much not the type of person who feels committed to watch a show. I know some folks that they know, and they know themselves enough to know that if they watch episode 1 of a show, that they feel compelled to watch it through. And that they've just gotten smart enough over the years of saying, okay, I will not start more shows than I know I can finish. But that the way that they operate is they want to be able to see a piece of media in its entirety, even if they feel it is a waste of their time, that they want to be able to have full context and understanding and see it through to the end, whether it be just in case it gets good, or at least to be able to criticize it and say it wasted their time with their full chest and be able to back it up. I am not one of those people. If I feel a show is wasting my time, or if I'm just bored by a show, I will stop.
That's fair. That's very fair, I feel. Like, what?
I was gonna say, for you, when you end up watching, are you the type that will usually see something through, or are you more prone to dropping?
I tend to see something through unless something really makes me want to stop. Like, I'm gonna out myself with one of the worst things that I kept up with for so long, and it took me so long to drop it. And that is Rental Girlfriend.
Oh, that's when I dropped around season 2, episode 3 or
Oh,
4-ish,
no.
because
I'm talking
fool me
manga.
once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, fool me 5 times. I'm impressed that you kept me around to fool me 5 times, but that's when I was out.
That's funny. But here's the thing. It's one thing for the anime. I'm talking the manga.
Oh.
I had been reading that manga for years.
I'm so sorry.
I dropped it around chapter 350.
Oh. Oh dear.
So, to answer whether or not I'm the type that tries to give it the old college try and stick with it, yeah. I think that should tell you.
Was there a specific chapter that you were just so upset with that you deliberately dropped it there? Or was it just, all right, I think I'm about done. I've had enough iterations, and either forgot to read the next chapter, slipped your mind, whatever, and you didn't end up going back?
You know, it's funny you say that because I actually think I can remember the exact moment.
Oh dear.
I think it was the full page spread of Mizuhara where she tells the main character that she's on her period. And yes, that's real. And I'm sorry you had to find out this way.
Is it bad that I hear that and say, I'm a bit surprised that that's the moment that was the one for you? Because having not read it at all, like I said, I've only seen through the first season and change of the anime, but I know that there was at one point in the past year or two a particular page that was shared a lot where she was just flat out rejecting him for the umpteenth time, and I got the feeling that, that
was way more recent.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
that's
know a
way
lot
more
of folks sort of were, all right, throwing your hands in the air, I'm done at that point. But that this one here was where the line was drawn for you.
Yeah, no, for me it was, mine was drawn way earlier than that.
Mm.
I heard about that and lost my mind. How much money must Rent a Girlfriend merch make to get 5 animes? All of it.
A lot.
To be honest. Way too much.
So much money.
Way more than it has any business. Oh, it causes me pain. Like, don't do it. Don't do it to yourself.
Oh no, don't worry, I will not. I'm sort of scrolling through my anime list right now, trying to think of, is there any a junk food show that I hold up and say, this is the one that I know is particular levels of junk food, but it is my junk food.
You know, I just thought of an old one that, like, until the ending is a series I would have defended, but the ending is one that I'm like, this was so bad, I do not defend this at all.
And then, yeah, because endings for me in media, whether it's a movie, book, TV series, what have you, endings aren't everything, but they're a lot, that they will very severely tint my overall opinion of the series or of the media.
God, I almost don't even want to mention this show. It's like one of those series that, like, I don't even like to admit that I'm like, oh, I liked it up until this point, you know? Have you ever heard of Ore-emo?
Yes, I have. I think I've seen 2 or 3 scattered episodes, am familiar with it, can't say that I have watched a full season of the series.
It's actually...
Actually, no, wait. I think I watched the first season.
Okay. Because for some parts of it, it's pretty good. And it's a pretty normal show. And then it has a horrendous ending. Absolutely horrendous in so many ways. But that was junk food. That's definitely a junk food one for me. That and Haruhi. No, I don't think I call Haruhi
I do
junk
not
food.
think Haruhi is junk food. I think Haruhi is like, I'm not going to hold up and say, oh, this is one of the greatest written series ever. I think it is a very well-written series, and I think it got completely undermined by the Endless Eight in terms of its adaptation.
No,
But
I
I-
was actually going to say, I actually would change what I was about to say from Haruhi is junk food to Haruhi before disappearance to me is junk food.
Ooh, okay, very interesting. So, do you consider season 2 before or after disappearance?
It's before
Okay,
because they mention the Endless Eight during disappearance.
yeah, because that's right. Yeah, there are direct consequences. Actually, come to think of it, haha.
There are like it has to be like you can't have disappearance without season
Yeah.
2.
Disappearance is
But
one of the best anime movies of all time, in my opinion.
I actually would go so far as say I actually think it is the best anime movie of all time.
Ooh.
Yeah, you didn't expect that, did ya?
I didn't necessarily expect you to, I was being a little bit reserved. I was like, okay, I'm not going to say the best of all time, but it's really freaking good. But
No,
yeah,
I actually go
it's
as far as
so-
to say the
it's-
best.
Wow. I mean, I'm not going to say I disagree because I can't think off the top of my head. Yeah, it's so good. And I'm so consistently sad that, and even the producers at this point sort of realize that what was, to be fair, the most Haruhi thing that they could have possibly done. But it was also, for those who don't know, The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, one, was broadcast out of order. Deliberately so. It was
Don't remind me.
and the light novels are chronological. The light novels are not out of order. They chose to do that for the anime as a quirky thing. And to be fair, I would agree. I think that is in the spirit of Haruhi to do things in that obtuse fashion. Then in season 2, they took it a step further, where there is an arc called the Endless Eight. The Endless Eight in the light novels is about 40 pages, and it is a time loop. It's a Groundhog Day situation. And in the light novels, you only read the final loop. The Endless Eight in the anime is the first, so you have an episode and it is a loop, and it just ends normally. And then the next episode, it's the same episode again. The characters are in different clothing, slightly different camera angles. Like the artist did not slouch. And halfway through the episode, you realize that you're in a time loop. And that then continues for the next 7 episodes. The Endless Eight was 8 episodes long. And keep in mind, if you are watching at time of broadcast, that is 2 months where you are not getting an actual new episode of your series. I don't have numbers, but I can only imagine the catastrophic drop-off in viewership and what that did to their ratings. And it is so in the spirit of Haruhi for them to do that. Like, it is something that I see in the boardroom, them saying, this would be so funny, but that they didn't think far enough of, wait, what are the actual implications of doing this? And basically tanked the series.
So there's so many parts of that that's funny to me. Have you read the light novels to Haruhi?
Yes, it is one of the only series I have gone out of my way to read the light novels.
Guess what? So did I.
And it gets so good after disappearance. What I would give for them to go back and finish Haruhi.
But here's the thing that I want to point out is, and this is part of my testament to Disappearance is the best anime movie of all time. Because not only is it top notch in almost every aspect of what it sets out to do, but also it then proceeds to outdo itself. Because do you remember how long The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya was as a light novel?
It was a book.
Yeah, it was a book.
It was a single book.
Yeah.
The series is 10 books.
Right, but do you remember about how long that book was in terms of like page count?
I think it was 180-ish, somewhere in there.
It's like 180-ish. 180. I want you to think about 180 pages for a 2-hour, 44-minute. Yes, I know the exact movie length.
Was it a page per minute?
It's something like that. But here's the thing: they not only adapted every single thing in that light novel, but they also added lines that were not in the light novel. Did you know that?
I'm not surprised. And we certainly saw that in Endless 8, that they technically added 7 loops worth, because the dialogue, while mostly the same, different inflections and did have some variance in what was said. So there was non-zero precedent for that at the very least.
Oh, but when I tell you the lines, I still think the VA's idea to switch who they were voicing is such a fun idea. So they turned it down. That would have been really funny, actually. That'd be really funny. But the lines in particular, I'm going to tell you what one of them are. Actually, I remember both of the ones that stuck out to me. Are you ready for this? The first line is, "Makes me jealous." Do you know what I'm referring to?
I think I do. That's a Kyon line.
That is a Kyon line.
And that would be at very, very few times in the light novels does Kyon actively...
Actually, no, sorry, that's not a Kyon line, actually. That's an Itsuki line.
Oh, okay. That makes sense too, though.
That line is from Itsuki to Kyon in reference of Haruhi.
Yes. Because I knew it was in reference to Haruhi, and I was thinking that it was Kyon to somebody else. But isn't that one of the only times that that Itsuki expresses a level of affection for Haruhi?
Not exactly. He does directly in the other the other timeline, express that he has feelings for Haruhi directly. However, after that, so there's the scene in the cafe where him and Kyon are talking and they're paying the bill. Kyon doesn't understand why Haruhi is acting the way she does, and Itsuki then expresses that must mean if your Haruhi's anything like mine, then she simply must like you for you. And
oh yeah,
in the light novel, that's actually where that scene ends. And in the movie, they add the line "makes me jealous," which changes everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of weight to that line.
It's a lot of weight to that line. There's all of the weight to that line. Beautifully handled. And also one other line. And that line is "thank you." Now that sounds very, probably doesn't explain anything.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Where that would
it
be
has been a
important.
while since I've seen the movie.
Mhm.
So I can't say that I know exactly offhand.
Me too.
I can think of a couple potential areas and people who could say that, and that it would have weight to be added as a line, that it could either be Yuki to Kyon, the other way
correct.
around. Oh, wait, I was right the first time?
Yep, that's it, right on there. But the thing is, where?
It would either be very near the end or very near the beginning.
You ready for it? It's the scene in which Nagato is explaining to Kyon how she met him originally getting the library card, in the instance where they're talking about the trip to the library.
Yeah.
And he helps her and then rushes away, and she talks about how she wanted to thank him and never could. In the light novel, that scene ends with him pondering about the difference of their meeting. She doesn't thank him in the light novel. That's only in the movie.
Folks, if you have not seen Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, I'm including the main series, and I will say that some people are kind of purists and like, oh, watch all the Endless Eight. You can watch the first and last episode of Endless Eight. If you want to have that sort of experience to say that you have experienced the Endless Eight, have at it. But I will say, watch all of Haruhi and at least episode 1 and 8 of Endless Eight so you can get to Disappearance to understand why it is so good. And frankly, like I said, I'm still going to defend. I think the main series is phenomenal. They do so many cool things. The performances, this is one, I am, with very few exceptions, a dub defender. I will say, if a dub is available, especially in the past 15 years, you have to work to find an actively bad dub. But I will point to Haruhi's dub. Basically, anything that Bandai did in the late 20s, in the late 2000s, early 2010s, anything that Bandai handled is an all-timer. Because they did Geass, they did Haruhi, they did a couple others, and that for both Geass and Haruhi, those I consider all-time dubs. I will actively direct people and say, obviously, the original Seiyu, phenomenal as well, no problem. But do yourself a favor and watch the dub, because it is that good, and that for whatever fraction of your brain you need to use to read the subtitles, and I'm someone who's very adept at reading subtitles, to not have that fraction of your brain occupied so you can fully understand, so you can fully appreciate the visuals, the dialogue, and other subtleties, and the genuinely good performances, watch the Haruhi dub.
So it's one funny thing you say on that. Because I'm going to say one thing, and you're not going to like it, and then I'm going to say something that you're going to like. I, at first, was not actually fond of the Haruhi dub.
I think that's fair.
And then.
And then.
And then we get the movie. Then we get Disappearance. Disappearance, I think, is when every single one of the cast members stepped it up so unbelievably well that I came to love the dub cast for it as well. Like, I think up until the movie, I wasn't as fond on the dub. And then the movie, they all brought their A games.
I can definitely agree with that, and I don't think it is unreasonable or even surprising to say that the movie performances are a level above what you get in the main series. One, because frankly, the writing in Disappearance, and it's not because it was a movie versus a series, but that the story told in Disappearance is a different type of dramatic and gives the actors so much more to work with, frankly. And that allowed them to bring their A game in a way that perhaps they didn't necessarily have as much material to work with in the main series. And also the fact that it was the last piece that they did with it, and that's not in the sense of, oh, it was their finale, so they cranked it up a notch. No, it was just that the longer you're in a role, the more you know the character, the more adept you are at understanding how to deliver that character's dialogue. So I would certainly hope that in most media, that the later it gets into its run, the better the performances are going to be just across the board.
Oh, absolutely. It was just the difference is so stark in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, it is just, it's rare, because I agree, like, as you get further into the production, like, I mean, today's a day to mention Ruby, of all things. As far as
why?
That,
oh, that's right. Oh God. Well, no, technically that's tomorrow.
Yeah,
technically that's tomorrow.
Nope, that's today.
I thought
that's
that
today.
I could have sworn it aired on Valentine's.
Of season 3.
Yeah, that was on Valentine's. I thought.
I looked it up. February 13th.
It was the day before. Okay.
Day
Because
before.
all right, because it was the whole joke of, here's what you get for Valentine's, Arcos shippers.
Yeah, that's what we're doing today? Trampling my feelings? No. I can't say anything. I brought this upon myself.
I could talk about Ruby for a long time, Exo.
And as could I.
I'm a defender of the series. I do not think that it fell off the cliff that so many people sort of write it off as after season 3. I think that without going into an overly long monologue of my own here, I think Volume 3 was the finale of an arc. And as you will have at the end of an arc, you will have reset action. Volume 4 was always going to be less intense, less stakes, and therefore just less perhaps narratively impactful than Volume 3 because you're resetting in many ways. Specifics of the story aside, that's just how arc writing works. And I think that so many people sort of painted themselves mentally into a corner and attributed the lack of Monty and other things to the series getting worse when that was the narrative of Volume 4 was always the plan, was inevitable. And certainly for 4, and I would assume for a good chunk of 5, that Monty had laid the groundwork for, I would assume. And I feel that the Ruby fandom, a chunk of it, sabotaged themselves in almost not trying to, or perhaps trying not to, enjoy volumes 4 and 5. Because once you have the time for reset action in an arc, things got really, really good again. And obviously it has had many production issues over the years. The sale of Rooster Teeth itself to Warner Brothers, the subsequent shutdown of it, and this, that, the other. And I hope we can see the end of that story. But I think that volumes 4 and beyond were actually still very, very good. And I'm sad that so many people did not like them, and in some cases I feel did not allow themselves to like it.
I agree. I just think that people have a hard time letting themselves enjoy things.
Yes! Yes!
Because I'll definitely say I love Ruby. But at the same time, I'll say it has its problems. It has.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to say the series was perfect. I'm not going to say Volume 4 is my favorite, not by a long shot.
But at the same time, for what it could be, I think it deserves more credit.
Yeah. And did a lot of really, really cool things, and I think still has the chance to do a lot of really cool things that supposedly they have said that early pre-production of Volume 10 has started. They have not given anything in terms of timeline or even necessarily full green light to full production. Just that concept pre-production has begun. It isn't necessarily dead. But dang, sometimes it feels like it's dead, and
It's been so long.
It's the sale to Warner Brothers and them trying to shoehorn it on to Crunchyroll completely backfired.
But once again, we're back at remember how I mentioned the Becker bit?
Yeah.
It's for some people, it has all the right pieces, but can it put it together?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's never quite that simple.
And in this case, I don't even think that could it put it together? I think is the company that was producing it able to stay in one piece long enough to let the pieces be put together?
That is fair.
Because Rooster Teeth prior to Warner Brothers shenanigans, had their own internal turmoil that, and this is completely separate from Monty's tragic passing, had internal turmoil that completely undermined the production. And then you have the shenanigans of, okay, it's sold to Warner Brothers, so now they're beholden to that. Papa WB says, all right, we're going to try and synergize you with Crunchyroll over here. That may or may not work. Expectations, I do not think we're aligned. And then the studio itself gets shut down, and then the license goes to Viz Media, but not necessarily with them having any intention to do active production. They just have the rights to be able to distribute what exists. And then the core teams, thrown to the winds, and here we are. It's a lot.
It is.
Rooster Teeth was a very special company.
Yeah. I just miss when you could make things for fun, enjoy them, and that was sometimes all they had to be.
Yeah.
Man, this is the part where I pull out the whiskey.
I mean, it is Friday night, by all means.
Do I have whiskey? Oh, no. No, I'll behave. I'll behave myself. As much as an old-fashioned sounds lovely right now.
Winding back a moment to different voice acting and Lelouch and Code Geass, which left to our own devices, we could talk for many hours on Code Geass. I'm going to slightly sidestep that a little bit into some things that you'd mentioned to me with your own voice acting. You mentioned that you had worked with Bill Farmer for your demo reel, and that there was possibly a story with that one.
Oh, God. That's sort of just the story on my full, I guess kind of my realization that I might actually be a voice actor kind of moment. So dialing it back, I had the fortune of finally getting to experience my first ever workshop at Bang Zoom. Because most of my, actually almost, I would say 90% of my voice acting, maybe 85%, is self-taught. I never really had the opportunity to take classes or go to workshops or have a mentor or anything. And so, like I said, most of my even vocal range was just for me experimenting. So for a span of 8 years, after being told I should come out for auditions, I never pursued voice acting because I felt I was an entertainer, but not a voice actor. I felt that I had the ability to make people smile, but I was not professional enough to perform in professional capacity. And when the chance came for me to take a workshop, I went in, and it was an ADR workshop. The main thing that terrified me, which is automated dialogue replacement. It's basically dubbing. And I got dubbing down in 15 minutes. And I was losing my mind. The thing that I was scared of for 8 years took me 15 minutes to learn. And this entire experience and more things that happened during that workshop motivated me to finally try to get my first demo reel made, in which I was recommended to Toon House, who are the ones who did make my demo reels, and the director at Toon House is Bill Farmer, the voice actor for Goofy, actually just Goofy, in which even when I went over there, he was wearing a Goofy shirt. It was funny. And
I mean, if you're him, I feel like, yeah, I'm wearing that proudly every day of the week.
That's fair. And so I had both my commercial and my animation demos made by them. I got my animation first. When I got my first one, they gave me a bunch of scripts to work with, and they were trying to figure out what voices to put on my demo reel. And in the booth, it was really funny. They were like, "We have a problem." And I'm like, "What is it?" They're like, "You've got Toomgus." And I'm like, "What the fuck is Toomgus?" And you've never seen that monster commercial? It's too much good stuff. they were like, yeah, we literally don't know what to cut down. We have too much shit to work with. And I'm like, oh, okay. And the next time I went for the commercial demo a few months later, after we recorded, I went out with Brock Powell, and we went to go get coffee while waiting, like, to process some stuff. And he tells me that they're like, why aren't you performing already? We want to send your demo reels out to studios personally. And it was like a real wake-up call moment. And kind of you literally never know what you can do or where you can go or what your own capabilities are unless you try. Like, I wasted 8 years that I could have possibly been doing the thing that I enjoy doing almost more than anything because I got in my own way. But then I also got Bill Farmer to sign a little conductor keyblade wand from the Kingdom Hearts Orchestra.
Yes, and we have that picture right here, actually.
Yeah. Look at that. I have my name there. That's a good problem to have, I think. Thank you. Hi, Duchess. He was super nice, by the way. Everyone there it was an incredible experience. Honestly, there were voices that Bill Farmer pulled out of me that I didn't even know I could do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything that he said, perhaps, in terms of direction that caused a particular result?
God, it's hard to remember the exact things he said to get there. I just remember it being in the booth, and like it was the one time, because I obviously, for me, not really having experience with directors, most of it is me figuring things out myself. And this was the first time with like someone directing me that I genuinely was like, I don't think I would have performed as well if he weren't here. It was such a nice feeling.
Yeah, a good director can be just so transformative that it's the type of thing that unless you are an actor or unless you have at the very least sat in on a workshop or other actor-director rehearsal session to see what a director actually does, because I think a lot of people think of the director as action cut, give direction in terms of, oh, you need to be sure to do something in terms of my vision.
Yeah.
But that people don't realize how much coaching directors do in terms of being able to, like you were saying, bring performances out of the actors.
Yeah. Like, a director can make or break a project.
And that for voice acting in particular, that I've seen just different things at conventions even and other places, the real-time difference from one take to another and how a experienced director makes it look so freaking effortless.
Yeah.
That they just, from their own experience, know intuitively, okay, I see this person having this problem. I say this to get what I need out of them. And that, obviously there will be some variation, but I know if I say this, 80% plus of people will intuit from there.
Mm.
Now, how did we get this Kingdom Hearts baton? Obviously, you went to the Kingdom Hearts concert, so...
Actually, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, because I was going to say, I supposed that you went to the concert and then perhaps brought it along to the workshop, but now I'm curious on multiple levels. How does this particular piece go with you and become this even more memorable keepsake?
So I did get permission to bring this one on my second trip for the demo reel, because I'm like, the first time I was like, I feel like it's extremely inappropriate to ask for an autograph while getting my demo reel made. But they were all really cool, and hanging out with them was super nice, and I felt comfortable enough to ask the second time around. So I brought it with me after being given permission. But I can't remember if I bought this in America or Japan, but I found this I've done a lot of merchandise hunting. I used to run an anime and video game merchandise import store, and I've also gone to Japan a lot to do imports for other companies.
That's right.
Yeah. So I come around a lot of exclusive and random and rare goodies here and there, and I will pick things up, sell them, and deliver them as necessary.
But that occasionally you keep some things for yourself.
Yeah, occasionally I end up with some little neat goodies.
Were you a band kid growing up, and is that perhaps why you had particular interest in this baton, or was it just because of fandom of Kingdom Hearts?
Mostly fan of Kingdom Hearts, so I'm actually not a band kid. I am a choir kid.
That is entirely unsurprising.
Like, what do you mean?
I mean that in the best of ways. Very much on average, theater kids are going to probably have been choir kids. I was the oddball that was in band and drama, but not choir, and faked his way through the musicals.
You know, it's funny you say that because almost everyone tries to peg me as a theater kid, and I am not a theater kid. And it's always really funny when people are like, "Oh, you were in theater." I'm like, "Nope, I have 0 theater experience."
That is, if I had to have guessed, I probably would have guessed that you were a theater kid, but I am also not shocked to hear that you weren't, if that makes sense. Certainly for the things that I know you enjoy that I don't necessarily think that in school theater would have appealed to you. That, voice acting is one thing, but that you would have known, all right, theater is not voice acting. And I don't know if it would have appealed to you at that point.
The funny thing is if I had any experience with voice acting by that point, I actually think I might have gone into theater. Because, honestly, aside from the fact that, I am very, self-conscious, and I've considered on several occasions, being like, you know what, I kind of want to try on-camera acting. So I would honestly maybe have tried theater, because, and I did actually take an acting class once in college. But, yeah, so it's one of those, I think if a couple of pieces lined up at different times, I would have tried theater.
That is also interesting because you had said specifically that you had always thought of yourself as an entertainer and not necessarily as a voice actor. And I suppose that does scan of, all right, if you see yourself as an entertainer, not a voice actor, how stage acting, screen acting might also be the same. But on the other hand, I also feel like stage screen acting is very much being an entertainer. So I'm curious for you in particular, when you thought of yourself as an entertainer then, what did you have in mind, and how do you see yourself as an entertainer and possibly more now?
At some point, I probably would have said, I see myself more as a comedian back in the day.
Okay.
I definitely would have seen myself less on, voice acting. When I was younger, I thought I was terrible at singing. As much as I hold more confidence now, I'm still self-conscious about my singing. But I also think part of that has come to realize I am comparing my raw vocals to mixed audio.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah, the first time I ever heard my voice mixed was an enlightening experience. I was like, what do you mean I'm allowed to sound like that?
Mixers are magicians.
Yeah, because here's the thing, is they are magicians, but the standard I hold myself to is I want my raw vocals to sound as good as possible compared to mixed audio. Because I don't want my singing to ever have to rely on, filters or anything. And I'm not saying to other people are, doing that, but it's if I can hear my own mistakes, I am already not to my own standard.
That makes sense. And I think that a lot of people are very similar to a point, and that especially when you don't either have experience or access to a good mixer, that you're going to be that much more selective and pushing yourself, because well, if you just don't have access to a good mixer, you need to just have it be there as good as it can be to begin with.
Yeah. It's complex.
Yeah.
But God, I do want to perform more. I also like I want to do more stage performing, honestly. Like stage performing, as much as I love to do stage performances for acting, I also want to do more stage performances for whatchamacallit, for singing. I want to sing on stage more.
Any particular type of singing? And I suppose this goes back to the performance that you had the most, at least back in school, which was choir. So I'm guessing that it's not necessarily traditional choir, quote unquote, that interests you, but is there a particular type of musical performance? Would it be show tunes? Would it be an idol performance? Something else, a variety show?
So that's actually the funny thing, is that's actually probably been my #1 challenge in direction of performance, is I want to do all of it. And I know I can't, or I shouldn't. Like, and there's like sometimes like ways I want to impact people that I know like performing one way or another is not going to do. Like, if I sing rock, I'm going to instill one way, and I'm going to make the crowd feel and be one way. If I sing show tunes or like musicals, they're going to feel another way. If I want to do something poppy, it's going to be a completely different vibe. And the thing is I sing all of those and more. And so it's coming to the understanding that I have to come up with a direction and road path of how I'm going to perform. And if I want to do that, like, I have to consolidate myself.
I don't know if I entirely agree with that.
Why is that?
Like, I suppose in the sense of, obviously, when you were working on perhaps one thing at a time to consolidate and say, all right, at the very least for this song, but goodness knows there are albums that do not adhere to a given genre. There are many successful artists that do not adhere to a given genre. I can understand, perhaps from a branding perspective, the want to focus a little bit to have something that can become a more cohesive brand than just I sing. That I definitely agree with and think is very practical. But I also hope that in the long term, that even if you consolidate in the short term, that you allow yourself to re-expand over time where practical, so that you can eventually get to all the different things that you want to do.
That's kind of what I want to do. Like, part of my like direction ideas were like, as you know, I have multiple forms. Singing with my other forms has been like part of my idea for even expanding in like some ways of like each form singing in their own different style.
Of expanding the Exo Verse.
Yeah, expanding the Exo Verse. But there's like some moments that have stuck with me for why I feel I need to do it. Speaking as a time where I not as EXO, but where I had an opportunity to perform live on stage for a bunch of people. And I got to sing 4 or 5 songs. The first song was From the Start by Good Kid, the rock version. And I am proud to say that it felt like the entire venue was screaming. And to this day, that's like a good memory for me. But then the next few songs, I know I feel like I sang Poison from Has Been that day, which I can't remember if that was the song or if it was another one, but the second one went well. And then the third song, I switched to Spin the Wheel from Arcane.
Ooh.
And I love that song, but it's a very different atmosphere and vibe. And during that song, I could tell that the crowd lulled. And it was one of those, even if people were enjoying it, that wasn't at that point what they wanted. I'd given them something that makes them want a different feeling and atmosphere. And so if I'm going to do that, I should be more consistent and not like, I don't want too much whiplash. And if I'm going to give whiplash, it has to be for a good reason. Because then the next song I sang Simple and Clean, which brought everyone back up.
Yeah.
And then
Now,
I sang...
question, was it the slow or the pop version?
It was the slow version. I did the full version.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah. Domain expansion. What do you mean domain expansion?
Well, expanding
But,
the Exo Verse, domain expansion.
Oh, true.
Domain expansion. Exo Verse.
But and then the last song performed an original that I'm not allowed to talk about right now. Well, okay, I can't name it right now, but I can mention that it was sung. And it was a wonderful time and even had everyone chanting the chorus. And that's awesome. But when I think about the song in the middle, when I think about Spin the Wheel, I remember the way the crowd pulled back. And I remember thinking, I don't mind this, but I don't feel like this is what the crowd wants. And when I think about me jumping from song type to song type, I keep that in mind of like, while, yes, people may enjoy it, but I want to give them an experience that they do not forget.
I can definitely understand that, and I can definitely agree and understand that type of scenario of to make sure that you, at least in any given individual performance, knowing where to go and not necessarily, all right, you don't necessarily want a single concert set to be a variety album, but that what you can perform in one concert set versus another, or in one karaoke session from another, can span in those different segments at those times.
I just want to perform and do everything.
Don't we all, man? Don't we all? There's so many things that I have wanted to do over the years that for one reason or another, calculated decisions are a big thing for me, of time and place, practicality, odds of success, path of least or most resistance, and figuring out when and where things are most practical from many different standpoints. And I think you and I are a lot alike in that way. If anything, I think that you're probably more adventurous than I am. I think that I am a coward in many ways.
Oh, don't say that.
Sorry, that's sort of a loaded statement. I do not mean to belittle myself. I think that you've done a very good job of putting yourself out there, and even if that meant, all right, you had a one-song stumble in a concert set, you still put yourself out there, and you still got to perform that, and that one, by all rights, it was an incredibly successful. The worst thing that happened was one of the songs wasn't quite to the vibe of the crowd at the time. It wasn't a poor performance, and you said yourself that you could tell that it wasn't being taken as a poor performance. It was just a vibe thing, and that's a subtle thing that, as a performer, you learn and you figure out over time. But that you got to the point of doing a concert, you had that opening number where everyone was chanting, and that after having, all right, whoops, this one wasn't quite to the vibe, that you got people back, which, if anything, can be more challenging.
Yeah. And that's part of, like, at the end of the day, like, while I think about it, I don't think that my performance was made bad by any means. At the end of the day, like, it was a song in the middle, and we brought it back up, and that's what's important to me. But it's like, it's just one of those, with it being, like, my first time, like, getting to perform like that, it's important to think about, I feel like.
For sure. And I think any good performer is their own worst critic. And perhaps in some ways, and I would say that I am guilty of it, as I think a lot of people are, that sometimes, while it's important to be your own worst critic, sometimes you're too much of your own worst critic.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, I've come to learn. I didn't even realize that apparently I'm a perfectionist. I've come to learn that.
I think a large percentage of performers across all mediums, whether it be VTubing, acting, singing, instrumental performance, what have you, I think, obviously, you can't say anything with absolutes, but I think it is a distinct trend, and statistics say that many who do those types of creative endeavors are prone to being perfectionists. So you're not alone at the very least.
Pain
For everyone, but we keep doing it because, dang it, we love it. Because even if it's something that, in the back of your mind, that however many years later, it still sticks with you, you're going to go back for that thrill of that first song and that last song and say, okay, well, now I know how to do it better next time to make it so start to finish, I'm able to do that, and that you're driven to sort of get your revenge, the concept of that revenge performance in a way. And I'm sure that you're going to have your chance for that, and multiple, I would think.
I'm hoping so. I'm very much hoping so.
Dang, we got kind of serious there.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, though.
Oh, not at all. Spinning back a bit, you mentioned the stuff that you had done in terms of importing for different merchandise, and you'd sent me 2 pictures. One was of that gorgeous conductor's baton, but the other was of some music boxes.
Yeah.
And based on, these are very high quality. These aren't just, your grandmother's music box. These are Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts. These are collector's music boxes. Am I right in guessing that these may have been, if not among the merchandise that at one point you imported, that they were found and collected along the way on those trips?
Yes, actually. They're not particularly expensive, but they're like, they have a tendency to have those around Square Enix related places like Artnia, Square Enix cafes, Square Enix pop-up shops, and or Kotobukiya, because they just have it all for some reason. And when I get the chance and I see when I'm like, I have an appreciation for like music box style music. Obviously I love music, but there's just something about the little music boxes that I found so charming, and I found myself, I used to have more. I had to like sell a bunch of stuff, so at one point I sold like 8 music boxes from Nier to someone, and I've just been like slowly trying to like build a little collection. And over the years when I was younger, I had to sell stuff pretty frequently, and it led to a mindset where I didn't really feel like I could keep things. And so I was trying to like, it's part of my, how do I put it? My self-adjustment to tell myself I'm allowed to have nice things.
I'm actually looking at these. So we have, unsurprisingly, from Final Fantasy X, Zanarkand and Tsukidane, which, arguably two of the most iconic pieces from that game. We have Meal and Sacrifice and Kain Salvation from
that's Kain Salvation.
Sorry, yeah, I have not played Nier. Outed myself there. We also have, and that was from Replicant and Gestalt. But then we have Automata, Kingdom Hearts, Dearly Beloved, of course, and then the one on the left is also Kingdom Hearts. Doesn't have a mark to say what it is. I can't tell. Is that
one is Simple and Clean?
Okay.
Or
also
Hikage,
unsurprising. Yeah.
That one's actually a hand crank one. Like, you have to crank.
Yeah, I saw that in the picture. You might not be able to tell in the image I have here on screen, depending on how large your display is. But if you zoom in, you can see that little silver crank. It sort of blends in with the countertop. But
It lets me crank it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
I
the,
couldn't resist.
the shot was there and you took it. I don't blame you. I'd have done it.
Sometimes you merely must crank it.
Do you have any others that either you don't have right now that you've been looking for, or are there any among the ones that you sold that you want to go out of your way to get back?
I do think I want to get a Kyrie one again.
Ooh.
And I do have one other one that I realized I didn't put in there because it's in a collector's edition, but I have the music box necklace or locket from, whatchamacallit, from Undertale.
Ah, okay.
That plays his theme.
Ooh. Now, obviously, it's not Undertale. This is Deltarune, but one of the other covers that you did recently, which, funny enough, like, it was kind of disturbing, Exo. Just, it has been one for me that I had been considering doing and didn't and wound up with others. But the fact that we've been on this same wavelength of songs, not just that we enjoy, but ones to sing specifically. Because our tastes in terms of, like, even for the Has-Been soundtrack are actually pretty different. But the ones that we sing, we have a lot of that overlap because you did a cover, it was another one-take cover of With You in the Dark.
Don't forget. Yeah.
Don't forget, sorry, yes.
Oh, God. It's funny because I actually am planning on doing it, like, I want to do a specific version of that song. There's a light rock music version that's so good.
Ooh.
That a friend of mine showed me, and I would listen to it on repeat just to, like, help with my tinnitus.
Because it's such a short piece, but it's such an interesting one. It's one I think has a lot of depth because one thing I've tinkered with and just recorded for myself out of experimentation and fun because it's less than a minute. That the original performance is just very, very pretty, but there's interpretations you can do that are very different, that it only takes a slight difference in delivery to make Don't Forget menacing.
Yes.
To make it scary. And
that's true.
Just
Ooh,
when the light is running low and the places that you know seem like fantasy, don't forget, I'm with you in the dark. You can make that
don't
scary.
Do this to me. Also, you're gonna get me to sing. Also, Guy, I hate that you're right. That cranking is probably the thing I'm most known for on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
I hate this. But I swear to God, you're going to slowly just get me to sing. I'm gonna just sing Don't Forget.
I mean, I won't complain. I'll turn down the music.
You know, you want a little acapella version? All right. You ready for this?
Music's down.
When the light is running low and the shadows start to grow and the places that you know seem like fantasy, there's a light inside your soul that's still shining in the cold with the truth, the promise in our hearts. Don't forget, I'm with you in the dark.
That pause of after promise in our hearts to don't forget is such a important part of that song. And the way that you do it, the fraction of a second timing that you can choose to add or subtract, because there's not a specific duration that I've ever really detected from the music, that I think obviously you have the recording that you can go to of the official performance and use that as sort of your North Star gold standard and say that is how we know it. But my guess, just the way that it's performed, it's detached from any tempo that I can detect. I think that is a very up to interpretation and performance thing, which perhaps ironically, the idea of how long to not be singing in a song being part of the performance is so interesting to me.
It's so good.
So good. And as a little thanks, I will also do an acapella. And I guess I'll even let you choose. Do you want me to do my, normal, genuine performance, or do you want me to do a full creepy performance?
Nah, you do a genuine performance. You pour your heart out.
When the light is running low and the shadows start to grow and the places that you know seem like fantasy, there's a light inside your soul that's still shining in the cold with the truth, the promise in our hearts. Don't forget, I'm with you in the dark.
Man. いいな。いいでしょ。
Toby Fox is one of the best composers of our generation, and I'm comfortable saying that. I think he's one of the best composers of our generation, and I think he is the outright best melody writer of our generation. Because everything he writes is going to get stuck in your head. That you will know the melody of that song. And obviously, the go-to is Megalovania. But I would argue there are a lot of soundtracks that if you can have two pieces be memorable, hummable, that you've got a very successful and strong soundtrack. I would argue that, I'm not going to say an exact number, I would argue over half the songs in Deltarune and in Undertale are that type of memorable earworm, hummable tunes that to just have everything stick with you like that is so difficult, even for the most prolific of songwriters. And Toby Fox makes it look easy.
He does. It's really wild. There's so much that he does that's just like you have a hard time remembering. He's just a little guy, goofy.
He's just one guy.
He's just a goofy guy.
Just a goofy guy who made a little game in, I think it's RPG Maker is still the base of it. And then oopsie, it went a little viral. And then oopsie, it became a cultural touchstone. And then oopsie, he's, I think, the first non-Japanese composer for Pokemon. And has now contributed to multiple projects, which is wild in many other ways.
It's weird to think Toby Fox composed for Pokemon. Also, Sans is in Smash.
He is. Close enough to, I'm calling Sans in Smash. Yeah. I still need to actually play.
Actually, you know what I want?
Ooh.
I want the Fun Gang in Smash.
So, Fun Gang being from Deltarune, or?
Yes,
Yeah.
Deltarune. The main,
Ooh,
the trio is like unofficially the Fun Gang.
Yeah.
Or the Fuck Gang.
I mean, this also sort of begs the question of if, when, and how do we expect another Smash?
Right.
Because I'm still of the opinion of I'm terrified and do not know how Sakurai, how that poor man is ever going to be expected to follow up Ultimate.
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of feel like in terms of follow up, that's hard to say, but I feel like he'll probably train a successor in terms of his design philosophies for Smash, because I know he's been working on for so long and he wants to work on other things.
Yeah.
And also, how do I put it? Smash is too important for Nintendo to let go.
Oh, I fully agree. Smash will
single-handedly
continue
sells
with or without Masahiro Sakurai, and it's just going to be a thing of how and when does it stop being entirely his baby, and I think that it's now. I think that the next Smash, he will have a hand in, but it's going to be the baton pass of it's Sakurai and Name as the co-lead designers of the game. And that then afterwards, Sakurai will step down and the other one will become the lead designer. Sakurai might be a consultant. My guess is that he'd probably be okay to, stop in, do a little bit here and there for, however long as he is in good health. But I agree with you. I think that it's one of the biggest franchises that Nintendo has. They're not going to just stop because Sakurai himself isn't doing it.
Also, guys comment. They let him make Air Riders. Now he's chained up in the hyperbolic time chamber. They're like,
We let you make one game. Now back to Smash.
No, I think it was the other way around. I think, well, actually, it may have been that now, but I think the actual origin of Kirby Air Riders, which I was so excited, I think one day he walked into Nintendo headquarters and said, I have made your Smash games for 20 years and printed you billions of dollars. My next game is Kirby Air Riders. You're going to fund it, and you're going to give me prime marketing dollars to do it. Any questions? And that the executive, who under normal circumstances would be very gruff, just says, you got it.
No, that's funny.
Not even like a cowering, like, yes, sir, Mr. Sakurai, just like a sort of dead in the eyes, like,
Yes.
yeah, you got it, man.
Yes.
You deserve this one.
That's valid. Thanks, Sakurai. Never ask him for anything again.
Until they're asking for him again, inevitably.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Oh.
And we've been at this for almost 3 hours now, man. That, like I said, left to our own devices, like, I could have you for many more because I would want to talk some TCGs and some Code Geass, but, like, the first time you and I met, we spoke for some 4 hours, I think. Just, like, we sat down because it was an evening and, there wasn't a lot going on, and we're just jamming for some number of hours, and I was like, I need to get you on the show, man. we need to have this also just because that becomes an excuse for me to be able to chat with you again. This has been so much fun, and I know left to our own devices, we could go a while longer, but for now, I do want to be able to let you go. But I have 2 last questions I ask all my guests.
Okay.
The first is, do you have any goals for the rest of the year? You've mentioned, obviously, you have your birthday coming up and some secret things for that, but we've actually got a pretty good chunk of 2026 left. So is there anything, whether it be a particular project or some sort of even more nebulous goal?
10K followers.
10K? Or just, yeah. Well, where are you right now? And on which platform?
7,400-ish? 7,450-ish?
And is on Twitch?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is well within reach of just, you've been very busy in the past couple years, but are now sort of able to focus more time on Exo. And I think that with all the experience you have and all the incredible work that you do, and, that's not an unrealistic thing. That's not, there's 2 months left in the year, hoping to do that. But we've got 10 months left. I think that is well within reach.
Yeah. It's more of it's one of those things of I've sat there looking at that number for a while, and I'm like, you know what? I want to beat that number's butt.
Yeah.
I said butt. No, I'm gonna kick that number's ass.
Well, I definitely think you've got that, and I think that your birthday is also going to go very well. I'm very excited for that. What day is it?
My birthday's March 2nd, but I'm debating on I might do like the end of February or like the first weekend of March because my birthday's on a Monday.
Oh yeah, yeah. My anniversary marathons are always the weekend closest to my actual anniversary date. I'm not gonna hold it to the exact calendar day because, no, if it's a Monday or really if it's a weekday, that's you're undermining yourself at that point. Don't shackle yourself to the false notion that is time. You can make it approximate.
Great. Now I know what song I'm singing right after stream. Time Adventure. Not familiar?
I am not. Is that from Adventure Time, or am I just extrapolating?
It is from Adventure Time.
Okay, because I was like, I didn't watch Adventure Time, but I could absolutely see Adventure Time having a song called Time Adventure, and I can't think of anything else that would.
It's actually really funny because I never made the correlation that that's just Adventure Time backwards. Oh, it's a very nice song, though. Very, very nice song.
I'll have to look it up.
All right, you said you had one more question for me.
Yes. The last question I ask all my guests is, what does being a VTuber mean to you? And that's not the question of what does it mean to be a VTuber, but being a VTuber means different things to different people. I've had folks say that it lets me get in touch with my inner child. It lets me be someone I can't be in real life. I've had others take a more clinical approach and say, it is the greatest tool I have as an entertainer. And I like my model, and I think it's super cool. I don't necessarily feel deep emotional connection to it. And I've had things in between and even beyond. There is no right or prescribed way to be a VTuber to interact with this medium. But for you, Exo, what does being a VTuber mean to you?
The funny thing is, for you saying that, like, I have such an attachment to myself as a VTuber. Like, this feels more natural for me than me, which is, probably not the healthiest thing, but we're going to sideswipe that for now. But it feels like an extension of myself, and it's, I don't know, it's hard to say. It is a version of myself that allows me to entertain people in ways I never thought I might be able to otherwise.
I always ask that question at the end because, one, it acts as sort of a nice bow at the end of it all, but the other piece is, while I never know what the answers will be before someone says it, the answers always make sense because you end up seeing the through lines from however long a show is to that last answer. And the concept that we were speaking of just a little bit ago of being an entertainer and entertaining, that is such a central word, I would say, for you. And it definitely makes sense for you being a VTuber that it is this expression of how you're able to entertain, but also that you have this emotional attachment to it as well, and that you said it is a very deep one, and that having had the good fortune to meet you in person and speak with you in this capacity as well, that you're consistent across the board, and that it's so fascinating to me in so many ways, but also not, I don't know if I would say it's not surprising or if just that I can see how Exo resonates with you, and that the way that you carry yourself and the things that matter to you, I see how and why you wound up in VTubing in a way that you did not necessarily have interest in acting or even voice acting for a time, but that you found your way here, and that it is now becoming this springboard for all these other types of entertaining and performance for you, and I'm very excited to see where you end up going from here.
Thank you. Also, it's funny you say that. Like, every time it's one thing that I've been told is that apparently me in person is more anime than me as a VTuber, and I find that one of the funniest things I get told frequently.
I don't disagree with that sentiment. And that's not to
No.
say you're not very anime right now. But yeah, you IRL are one of the most anime people. And I say that with all the love in the world. Like you are one of the... You are easily one of the coolest anime people I have ever met. Because I have met people who strike me as anime and can sort of fall on the cringier side of that. You do not.
Aw. That's a high compliment. That's high praise.
That you
Thank
have... You are... Animated isn't even really the proper term, but that you have this energy about you, and that you have made it your own, and if someone were to point at it and say, that's anime energy, I look at it and say, yeah, that's very true. There's logic in that statement. But if you were to ask me how to make it so you can have anime energy IRL and just be really cool, I don't know if I could tell you how to do it, but you do it.
Oh. I feel like it's definitely one of those you just simply gotta be.
Yeah, that you know yourself. And if nothing else, I think that is central to just being able to carry oneself well in life as a whole. And that you are anime. That is just you.
I can't argue it. I really can't. I really can't.
And it doesn't feel like it's put on. That is just you happened to fall at that little nexus there where it could be described as such. I don't think I think interests and passions definitely sort of helped and perhaps informed things, but I don't think for a moment it was ever active engineering per se.
Mhm.
So I actually lied. There is one last question, and it is perhaps the most difficult that I will ask all night, and that's who would you like us to raid?
Oh, you know what? I actually had someone up right now. Can we raid?
Oh-ho.
You know, I got someone. Like, you know what? I could have gone and looked through, but I literally just I was like, you know what? Pull this on the side. It was just
Who we got?
ironic timing of you know what? I got someone.
Dilly Dally Do. I cannot say I'm familiar with them, but that's why I ask folks to direct the raids, because one, as we go out, folks, be sure to use any of Exo's emotes that you might have, because I don't have any of my own. If you want to just go with, Exo sent us or talk show raid, and you can put on some global emotes, some hearts, whatever you want. But definitely be sure to let them know that Exo sent you all. Do I call them Dilly or Dally or Do or combination?
Dilly, I believe.
Dilly it is. Well,
So I'm dropping this. This is what I'm going in when I'm saying, because I realized that I do actually know what they're doing for stream. They're doing a Hear Me Out stream.
oh, okay. Alrighty,
that's
very fun. But where is Sin it is?
Where is Sin?
Well, again, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me just make sure. Yes, I do believe I got to everyone, just in case. Yeah, because I said it in Zader Vim and F Young Sate. So thank you to everybody who tuned in, followed. Thanks again, Lane, for the raid. And thank you, obviously, Exo, for being here. Just gave you a shout out for anyone. If for some absurd reason you are not already following Exo, please do correct that. Highly, highly recommended, obviously. If you're interested in more shows like this, I do these approximately once a week, but it's all scheduled around the guests, so I can't promise you an exact schedule. But that's why you should follow, to potentially keep up and know when a show's going to be. You can follow me here on Twitch, also on Twitter and Blue Sky, and I'll have the posts there. But even if you don't, thank you so much for being here for any amount of time. Exo, obviously, I hope to see you more around, whether that be in an Among Us collab, at a convention, or other things around. But again, really, really appreciate you, man. So we're going to go on over to Dilly. And until next time, everybody, have a great evening. And once again, thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Donna.